see here. I think we are. Let's go up to the chat there. Excellent. Fantastic. All right. Good stuff. Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to Paleontologizing. If you're watching this later in the VOD, I don't think anybody's live yet. But it's really good to have you here. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I dig up dinosaurs, I study them, I publish on them in the scientific literature, and right here, right now, I'm out in western Wyoming with a crew of other paleontologists and volunteers digging up some dinosaurs in the late Cretaceous almond formation of western Wyoming. And it is great to have you here live. Let's see, let me turn off auto-rotate so we don't have the phone freaking out on us. But welcome everybody. It says we've got 15 viewers already. Holy moly. Great to have you here. There we go. Zorox88, how are you doing? Welcome. It's good to see you. Yeah. Just gonna wait here for some more people to trickle in, and then, yeah, show you what's going on over in the quarry. We've got what will most likely be a new species of duckbill dinosaur. Yeah, Avalon Angels, how are you doing? Welcome. LA Jew, what's shaking? Good to have you here. Weird Adult, how are you doing? Yeah, the sky is very blue today, as it often is. We've got really nice weather today. Hopefully the wind won't be too bad. But it's just about perfect temperature. It's probably like 83 degrees right now. And, oh, we've got a little bird over there. Who is that? Hey, little bird. Yeah, who are you? Little living theropod over there. Modern dinosaur. I'm not sure who that is. Some kind of very little, very slight, chirpy bird. Nader Fiend, how are you doing? Welcome. LL Gunto, LL Gnuto, good to have you here. Birds of Dead howdy. And, let's see, Ferris Hex says, stumbled on you the other day and I'm already obsessed. Well, it's great to have you here. Welcome to Paleontologizing. My whole point here is to do science outreach. And, this is the best way that I know how. Here on Twitch, broadcasting a live dinosaur dig. I'll be doing this until, I'm taking a couple weeks off. Starting on Saturday. But, yeah, from mid-July through mid-August, going to be streaming another dinosaur dig up in eastern Utah. So I hope you're excited about that. FMSSK, welcome. Hey, Science Streams, good to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Esther the Dreamer, ciao to you too, good to have you. Cliff Alistair McLean, welcome. Cactus Jack, what's shaking? Ramen War Cult, how are you doing? And Golganak, wonderful to see you here, Golganak. It is great to have you. Today we're working the same site that we were working yesterday. This is Skull Ridge, where we've got what's probably a new species of duckbill dinosaur. I'll be showing that to you in a few minutes. But today in the quarry we've got Ethan, Quinn, and Terrence. Ethan and Quinn are working on setting up a grid so that we can properly map out where all the different bones have come from. And Terrence is clearing away some overburden so that we can get down to the bone layer, hopefully find more of the skull of this animal. Jody Fish, how are you doing? Welcome. Claire Burr, great to see you. I hope things are good. Yeah. Nader Fiend asks, are they just like big ducks? No, duck-billed dinosaurs are huge plant-eating animals. This one is like possibly as much as 40 feet long, we think, by the size of the lower jaws. It's a huge animal. They've been called duck-billed dinosaurs because their beak has kind of a vague resemblance to a duck if you like really squint and forget what a duck looks like. But no, not duck-like animals. These were big terrestrial herbivores. They were stomping around, eating all kinds of plants, chewing them up with their teeth. Ducks don't have teeth. Yeah, probably lived in great big herds. They're probably very social animals. Yeah, cool critters, duck-billed dinosaurs. Hadrosaurs is the group. Smorphosaurus, how are you doing? Welcome. Yeah. And Fall Machine, hello to you. Charlie's Dragon, 24 months. Thank you for your ongoing support. That means the world to me. It really does. Linux Physics, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Yeah. And yes, someone who needed many, many lurfs. There you go, Golganek, yes. Duckbill dinosaurs like that. And we think they ate conifers, so like, you know, evergreen trees, probably ferns, horsetails. They probably ate all kinds of different plants, all these different things that were growing at the time in this environment. And hey, grammar nerd, I guess that's why the land before time character is called Ducky. There you go. That's a Saurolophus, actually, which, if I remember correctly, which might not be, well, yeah, different. It'll be a different kind of duckbill dinosaur from what we have here, it seems like. Yeah. And blue front, hey, I really appreciate that blue front. It's great to see you here. I hope you and Lenina are doing really well. And congrats on 20 years of marriage. Holy moly. Lenina was telling me about that. That's an achievement. Good for you. But yeah. And functioning dig streams, I know, right, Charlie's Dragon? Holy cow. Yeah. Oh, and science streams, the feeling is mutual. Thank you so much for the 26 months of support. That is incredible. It really is. Holy cow. Yeah. Naderfiend says, it could be a dino we already know, but in just a different stage of development, right? That's very unlikely for this site, because this is no dinosaurs have ever been named from this geologic formation before. So this is a new time and a new place. And you don't get the same dinosaur throughout millions and millions of years. Like, these animals change pretty quickly. They're always evolving, and so this is going to be a new species of dinosaur, most likely, just based on how old it is. Because we don't have a duckbill dinosaur from this part of the world from 73 million years ago. So it's very likely going to be something new. Yeah, if it were from rocks that were well explored, then we wouldn't really have any reason to think that it would be anything new. But here, it's almost certainly going to be new, just because this is a new frontier. We're going to have a whole new cast of dinosaurs from the Almond Formation of western Wyoming. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, good stuff. And what is the weather here? 81 degrees. Okay. Yeah, nice. Very nice. And Smorf, I hope you enjoy going to Drumheller. That's going to be really cool. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. I decided to stream in just chatting today. We'll see how this goes. Maybe traveling outdoors would be a little bit better. I don't know. In fact, maybe I'll switch to that real quick. Yeah. Let's do that really quickly here. Back, Stream Manager. And let's try... Travel and outdoors. There we go. Save. Should bring in some more people, I hope. Yeah. There we are. Good stuff. Welcome, Neil. How are you doing? Howdy, howdy. Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff. Well, let's go over and take a look at the quarry here. It's a little busy over there. But you'll see the bone that we were jacketing yesterday live on stream. That's going to be ready to flip today, before too long. But we'll see how the guys have made progress over here, setting up the map grid and clearing away overburden. Hey, fellas. Say hello to Twitch chat.
Hello, Twitch chat. Hello, Twitch chat.
So they're establishing a grid right now so we can properly map out where all the bones are.
Parallel with that. Yeah, sure. Parallel with that line up there.
Yeah. So again, there is our jacket that we were putting together yesterday. And there's Terrence removing some overburden. I'm checking the underside of all those blocks, making sure there's no bone under there. So yeah, hopefully with any luck we'll find more of the skull, basically where Terrence is standing. I'm just going to clear away the overburden first.
I'll do 200.
Get it blind. Alright, Axis, I'm glad you've been loving the stream, yeah. Hey, Phthalo, good to have you here. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Excellent.
Perfect.
There we go. Yeah, they're putting down some tent stakes there. So that we've got like a nice grid, and we can map everything out and tell exactly where it came from. Because that will be important. Data collection is one of the most important things about digging up dinosaurs. Got to be able to record as much information as you can on not just the stratigraphy, but also the taphonomy, how the different bones are laid out. Might give us some clues as to what kind of environment this was. Was this a mangrove swamp? Was this a beach? Was this a lake? Was it a river or a creek or something like that? Being able to map out where all of the different bones came from, might help you reveal some patterns about, was there flowing water coming through here that distributed the bones in a certain way or something like that? Yeah. Calm versus turbulent. There you go, Jody Fish. Yeah. Captain Crunk says, is it unusual to find a dinosaur at the top of a hill? No. At least in the sense that you find dinosaur fossils in places where you have a lot of erosion going on. So at top of a hill might be an excellent place. It certainly was here. But yeah, it's maybe unusual to find a dinosaur at like the bottom of a valley or something like that, because you wouldn't imagine there'd be a lot of erosion going on there. But later this summer, I'll be taking you to a place in eastern Utah where we do have some dinosaurs at the very bottom of, like, on the valley floor. So there's exceptions to a lot of these rules. Yeah. Anyway, hey Texas Cryptid, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah. And I know this was not at the top of a hill. No. This was this would have been in the lowlands 73 million years ago when this dinosaur lived and died. So yeah. All this topography is new. This area used to be flat. So whatever kind of environment it was, like specific environment that this site represents, whether it's a mangrove swamp, whether it's the bottom of a lake, whether it's a beach, or something like that, it's going to be, a very, very low point on the landscape where you get lots of sediment deposited. Yeah. So you wouldn't have a dinosaur buried at the top of a hill during the dinosaur's time. It doesn't work that way. Does that make sense? Yeah. And hairy vegetable. It is true, yeah. Seashells on mountaintops. We get that over here. We get oyster beds, through some of these strata at like over 7,000 feet of elevation, because this used to be sea level during the time that these dinosaurs were walking around, and these, oysters were living and stuff like that too. Yeah. I try and catch myself to not be super dinosaur centric about stuff like this, because there's so many different cool critters that lived in these environments. But I'm a dinosaur guy, so of course I'm gonna think in terms of dinosaurs. Yeah. Thank you, Astronomy Show, for the Prime. I appreciate that very much. Yeah. And Beginning Wonderful, can you just keep these bones in your personal collection? No, definitely not. We're working on public land here. So this is land that belongs to all of us, the people of the United States. And so these bones belong in the public trust. So we're taking these back to a museum in Ohio, actually. And they will be publicly reposited there in perpetuity. So they are public property, not to be owned by any individual person. They belong in a museum. That's the way it should be. Yeah. Yeah. And Rose Sims says, did you learn how to properly excavate during university or through experience? Both. Yeah. When I worked with Museum of the Rockies, kind of affiliated with Montana State University, that's where I really learned how to dig dinosaurs. Yeah. But I've done a lot of stuff, kind of more freelance since then too. Yeah. And I didn't end up watching the last episode of Prehistoric Planet 2 Smurf. Maybe sometime soon. And how was the plastering? It was good, Izzy. Yeah, it went really well yesterday. So, as soon as Ethan and Quinn are done setting up that map grid, and maybe they start out the map, then maybe we'll get ready to flip that jacket, the one that we were putting together yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. Ethan, could I have you say a word about the mapping process, maybe?
Sure. So all these stakes we're hammering in are like little, they're coordinates basically on a grid.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the last one?
I think so.
All good. I'll get some later when I take Nick into town. You'd think that a hardware store would sell nails.
Yeah, that's been kind of unusual.
So yeah, these are all, we're creating like a Cartesian plane so that we can have 1 meter square sections, and we can do little diagrams of how all the bones are situated in those little sections.
Mm-hmm.
So we can create a big chart at the end of the excavation that'll show us exactly where all the bones were in relation to each other, which may tell us a bit about how they ended up here, which bones go to which animals, and that kind of thing. So
Cool.
something interesting to note here is like here's one of the jaws, one of the lower jaws sticking straight up vertically in the rock, and then there's the other side. There's the right jaw, and that's laying down flat in the rock.
Yeah.
So that might be something to do with how the animal came to rest here. So that's the kind of interesting data that we should record, so we can interpret it later.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So we've run out of nails here, but
Yeah. How? So the hardware store just did not have any nails.
yeah, they were like, I was like, do you have any nails? Anything you can use to nail stuff? They were like, well, what do you mean? I was like, like something that's sharp on one side and not on the other side? Yeah, for what? For like nailing things. And she was like, I have 10 stakes. So that's what she sold us.
Maybe if you just asked for like masonry nails or something,
Yeah.
like maybe she short-circuited and,
Maybe. We've all got those moments.
or maybe they just didn't have nails. I don't know.
I'll go to Home Depot today. They should
Yeah, hopefully they'll have
should
nails.
probably have some nails.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are pretty good though. They're nice and beefy, and then they can stick around for a while.
Yeah. They're hard to like trip over, or I guess they're easy to trip over, but they're hard to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Nice.
I come in with you? I'll bust some firewood.
Sure. We have
Yeah.
we have a volunteer coming at 3 o'clock today, and a volunteer coming at.
Oh, it's 3:26 right now.
Okay, that should be about time.
Okay.
Let me give him a call.
Yeah. Cool.
If you don't mind. Sorry, I'll go over here.
No, you're good. Yeah. So over here, this is all fresh surface that Terrence has been digging up. Very nice. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have more of the skull under there.
Yeah, the bone
We
bed
will have
is
to see.
plunging in, so
Mm-hmm.
we're definitely gonna have to get deeper.
Yeah.
But
And Izzy says, how big is the skeleton? I mean, we only have bits of the skull so far, but they're all very big. So this animal would be maybe like 40 feet long. Yeah, like T-Rex sized. Which is pretty big for a duckbill dinosaur. Again, there is that lower jaw. The dennary right there. Very nice. You can see some chunks right there. That's where they belong. And you see, this is where the tooth rows would be. Right there. Yeah. And then the other lower jaw is already there in that jacket. Yeah. Yeah. And Big Bad Eric, I didn't actually bring the solar panels today because we had, I don't know, there's a lot of other stuff going on. And we had a visit from Uncle Sam earlier, the Bureau of Land Management. We had some people from there who came out to visit us. They issue us our permits, and they're the stewards of this land here. And it was fun being able to show them the site and everything. And they'd not really seen anything like that around here, so it's pretty exciting. This is not an area that's known for its dinosaurs. So what we're doing is like, not to toot our own horn too much, but this is pioneering work. Yeah. And Jody Fish says, given the disarticulation, could it be that the skull had been predated? It could be, yeah. The way that we would try and demonstrate that is by looking for tooth marks on the bones, or maybe looking for shed teeth. So like spent teeth from a big meat-eating dinosaur, like a tyrannosaur here. But we don't have any evidence of that yet. Things do just fall apart really easily. I think most people are used to thinking of mammal skulls, which are pretty solid. Dinosaur skulls are all full of these beautiful, hollows and windows and what we call fenestrae. They're like beautiful works of architecture, but they disarticulate really easily. They fall apart really easily after the animal dies. It's very, very common. In fact, it's much more rare to find like an articulated skull that's still together. So disarticulation it's almost kind of the rule here. Yeah. But yeah. And Charlie's Dragon says, this is groundbreaking science in more than one way, yes. And there you go, Where Ducky. Yeah, I wasn't trying to make a pun, but yeah. And everything went great with the BLM, yeah. They're great. They even brought us popsicles. which was really nice. They didn't have to do that, but they brought us popsicles out here. And, yeah, it's our tax dollars at work, you know? So that made us really happy. And they were really excited to be able to see this. They were mostly, like, archaeologists and interns, and then a few, like, BLM officials. Yeah, it was a lot of people. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Put some chapstick on here. The air here is so dry. Yeah. But yeah. Oops. And my phone is not cooperating. There we go. Yeah. But yeah. Big Bad Eric wants to know, when you get a permit, do you get permission to dig anywhere on the stretch of federal land, or do you have to give them specific areas you want to dig? Yes. To both. When we have a prospecting permit, we basically get free range to dig like a 1 meter test pit around like a bone or something that we find to see if there's more of the animal. And if there is more, and we need to dig a bigger pit, like here, then we apply for what we call an excavation permit. And yeah, that's what we've got here. And then the BLM will come out and check on us. You know, we got to write them a report and stuff like that to make sure that we're doing everything right. We're not, we're not digging up all the sagebrush, and we're not tackling pronghorn and giving them noogies or anything like that. You know, we're not harassing the wildlife. We've got to be, we're guests on this land that belongs to the, us, the U.S. people. Yeah, you got to be respectful. No giving the pronghorn noogies or anything. Yeah, or wedgies. And Gary and Kelly says, do you save every little bone or fossil you find, or some expendable? In this case, here in this quarry, everything needs to be saved, because so far, every bone that we found here has been a skull bone. So every single scrap is going to be important. In other places, when you first find a site, you might just find bits of what we call float on the surface. So just bits of bone that are, maybe they've been lying there for 100 years and they're all eroded. There's no real shape to them. You could just tell that it's bone texture. And oftentimes we'll try and save parts of those, but if you don't get everything, that thing will just end up as a box, like inside of a box in museum collections if you can't put it back together. So yeah. But any fresh bone that comes from under the surface, we definitely want to save every scrap of that we can. Yeah. But yeah. Naderfiend says, are there cougars out there? I've not seen any, no. Yeah. Did I steal the apple core back from the pack rat, Rizadegu? No, that was at the other site, but I threw it back down the hill, and it hasn't come back yet. Yeah, and every bone has been part of a skull snowfall, yeah, which is really rare. This is a great site. Very exciting. Yeah. And what is the most interesting find on a dig or on this dig, Izzy? We've got a new ceratopsian dinosaur that I showed you last weekend. That's probably the most exciting thing so far because it's new. That's not one of the sites that we have an excavation permit for. Nick found that just, when was it? Early last week. So yeah, that's very exciting. But this is also exciting. And now at the other site, the one that I jacketed, that big limb bone, what we call the T-bone site, apparently they've got bone coming out on the other side of the hill now, and potentially there's another bone bed of dinosaurs right near that site too. So things are kicking off over there. Maybe I'll stream from there tomorrow. We'll have to see. Yeah. Good stuff. And do we have to fill the holes back in once we leave? We do to a certain extent in Cephalon Wolf, yeah. That's kind of at the BLM's discretion. We're just making sure that we're not being obnoxious and we're not, disrupting things more than is completely necessary. Sometimes that means not filling a hole in all the way, because that might be more disruptive than just leaving it half full or something. It's kind of at our discretion. The whole point is be as unobtrusive as you can, within reason. Yeah. And Dark Native says, how deep do you have to dig before finding anything valuable? It depends. Well, so we find things on the surface. That's how we find dinosaur fossils in the first place. And so when a crew member a couple years ago found this site, there were just lots and lots of bits of bone right here on the surface. And that's how they were clued into the fact that there's a dinosaur here. So it's not like we just go dig a random pit somewhere and hope to find stuff. You walk along and you prospect. So like maybe I'll take you on a little jaunt over here. Pretend we're prospecting right now. You know, you're down looking at the ground like this. It's kind of slowly walking around, and you look for anything that might happen to be bone. The bone's got a very distinctive texture, and it takes a while to learn, but once you get your eye on, it's really unmistakable. Well, not completely unmistakable. People still mistake it for things, but you know, yeah. So, yeah, and then you might pick something up and go, that looks a little unusual. Like, what is this? Is that turtle shell? No, that's just some sandstone with kind of a knobbly texture on it. And then you put it back. And so you basically do that until you find some scraps of bone, and then you try and figure out where the bone is coming out from, and then hopefully you dig in that spot and you find more bones under the surface. That's how we prospect for dinosaurs. That's how it works. Yeah. And yeah, random pits would be very hit or miss. Exactly, Dark Native, yeah. Yeah. And that's a rock, that's a rock, that's a boulder, that's a rock. Exactly, Dinosaur Dave. There's a lot of that. That's basically how it goes. On Friday, I was out prospecting, I guess it was over there, with Fisher and Nick for we were out there for 8 or 9 hours, I think. And we didn't find hardly anything. I found a few scraps of bone that didn't seem to go anywhere. They may have just been isolated, and that was it. And sometimes that's how days go when you're prospecting. Sometimes you just don't find anything. And that sounds really discouraging, and it can be discouraging. But at the same time, it's nice because you can just cross those areas off the map and go, okay, there's nothing here. You know? And in some places, you just don't get dinosaur bone preserved, you know? For whatever reason, certain areas just don't have dinosaur bone. It could be that the ancient environment wasn't amenable to fossilization. You know, it could be that the area was too acidic. So any bone that was left there would have just been, you know, eaten away, basically, by acidic soils. Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah. And Dark Native says, what makes you decide where to prospect in the first place? Well, you've got to find rocks that are the right age and the right type for whatever you're looking for. So we are in search of dinosaurs here, and so we're not going to look in marine strata for the most part. So if we can tell that those rocks, like those ones over there that are all whitish, those are marine strata. So they're from the bottom of an ocean. It's pretty rare to find dinosaur fossils at the bottom of an ocean. Occasionally you have a dinosaur that dies on land and it washes out to sea and it gets preserved, but it's pretty rare. If you want to find dinosaurs, you look in terrestrial strata. So rocks that were laid down, you know, on dry land when these animals are walking around. And yeah. And then you've got to find the right type of land too, right land ownership. If you want to dig on private land, you have to get special written permission from the private landowner. If you're going to dig on federal land, you have to get permits in order to be able to do that. That kind of thing. So yeah, out here we've got a lot of BLM land, Bureau of Land Management land, and that is where we are exploring. Does that make sense? Yeah. And Slay the Beast, I'm using Starlink right now. We've got satellite internet out here. Yeah. Powered by solar power. Truly off-the-grid stream here out in the Wyoming desert. And do you prospect certain areas again after a few years? You can in certain places, Joe 3E, yeah. In certain places you'll have new bone exposed after a while. But, I don't know. In environments like this, you don't have very steep cliffs and stuff like that. This is almost not like your typical Badlands topography. It's a little more vegetated. These hills are a little more sloping and gentle. And so stuff here will take a long time to erode out. So if you prospect this area, it might be another 50 years or maybe even 100 years before you actually start finding new cool stuff. It depends, you know? In areas like the Hell Creek or the Judith River formations of Montana where I've worked, I've discovered sites that were right next to an old site, and there was just nothing there when the old site was being dug. You know, a few meters away, a few years later, new bone starts to poke out, and it must have been just there under the surface when that crew was digging years ago. Oh yeah. But yeah. Let's see, scrolling down through chat. Big Bad Eric says, what's your back of the napkin estimate for how many Tyrannosaurus skeletons are at the bottom of the Atlantic? Well, shoot, let me think. Atlantic is, well, like about 2,000 miles wide. Seafloor sediment, 0. Yeah. Yeah. We don't even know if Tyrannosaurus lived on the eastern part of the U.S. during its time. We haven't found fossils of it out there, so it making its way into the Atlantic and then ending up in seafloor sediments there are very unlikely. Yeah. But yeah. And how's the jacketing going? It went well at Miss Yvette. We might do a little bit more today. Yeah. And How Do says, how often do you guys use GIS for your job? I'm interested in learning it. Do it, How Do. Absolutely do it. Holy cow. GIS is one of the most important skills you can have. For anybody not to know, that's Geographic Information Sciences. So like, you know, mapping, learning ArcGIS. Shoot, if you can learn how to use that program, ArcGIS, people will hire you for all kinds of different jobs. Like, it's a very, very powerful program. GIS as a whole field is really important. And it's becoming increasingly important for everything from like wildlife management or like, you know, land management to like construction or mining or I don't know, city planning or just about anything. Like if you have good GIS skills and you know what you're doing in GIS, then you will very seldom be unemployed. I'll put it that way. That's honestly the best piece of advice I can give to somebody who like wants to go into like the earth or geographic sciences. Learn GIS and you'll never go hungry. Yeah. So we use a little bit of GIS here, How Do, but I mean, so much of this stuff is just exploratory, like boots on the ground kind of stuff. Yeah, but I'm sure if we were better at GIS, it would make our lives a bit easier here. Yeah. But yeah. And Where Ducky says, what made your team decide to work this particular area, given the stewards of this place aren't used to seeing fossils here? Well, Barnum Brown, the guy who discovered Tyrannosaurus Rex, he came through here in 1937, and he found a few dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're gonna flip this.
Oh, you're gonna flip it? All right. Nice. There's a truck coming, by the way, too, so we'll stay out of the way.
Coming down.
All right.
One of those picks or bandage.
This should be a really easy flip here.
Remove plate, please. Thank you.
All right. So this is our dentary, so lower jaw of our duckbill dinosaur right here. And we are gonna flip it.
Flip it, baby.
Yeah. Flip it good.
Don't usually do bubble wrap, but
Yeah, I've never
Why
actually
not?
used bubble wrap in the field before.
why not? You know,
But yeah, make things nice and soft.
important bone.
Usually we use like burlap or something.
We got burlap underneath it, but
Nice. Yeah.
we'll use what we have at our disposal. Okay, so let me get my pockets empty so I don't jam anything into my thigh there. All right, so
Nice.
there's not a lot of room here, but it should work. Okay. And
Let me
once
know if
it's-
you guys want a third or fourth
Yeah,
set
maybe,
of hands.
maybe set that down just for a second.
Yeah, you
just
bet.
So you can coax it through the flipperoonie.
Let's put her right here.
It's pretty loose. We just want to make sure nothing comes out the bottom.
Yeah.
The camera's set on top of what will be a new bone surface momentarily, hopefully.
Okay.
So, you want to be the one that catch her?
Sure.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Get it up. Get it up. Nice.
Nice.
Ah.
Very nice.
Let's get it on a better surface. Oh, she's heavy. Okay, nice job, guys.
Yeah.
I don't see any bone, do you?
No.
Good.
I don't either. We're looking good.
We did it. Now we can start whittling this thing down, and we'll take it down
Very
at
nice.
the end of the day.
Yeah, excellent.
Awesome. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Very cool.
This hole.
Here, let me get out of Terrence's way so you can keep working here.
I'm gonna bring it back in.
Into the hole.
Yeah.
I'll just put this
What do
right
you
here
say
for
we
now.
Take it, cause that's full of rubble. Yeah. You just take it right there.
Okay.
I'll be obviously mindful of the stones and stuff there.
Oh my god. You wanna take a couple rocks off? Sorry for swearing.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll whittle it.
You didn't swear. What are you talking about?
We'll
Nobody
whittle
heard
it
that.
down. Let's whittle it for a minute. Oh god. It's just not in every. Hold on, if you let go and let me see how.
Let's
rocky
adjust
it is.
this a little
Okay,
bit.
take it back in the hole then. All good. Let's get it back in there.
Nice.
Okay. Nice job. Ooh. I think we're good. Sweet.
Good stuff. Oh, I've got 290 people watching right now, and you'll see what happens after a flip. We're gonna pare this down,
Oh, here's the.
take away the rock from the underside, and that's gonna be mostly like a two-man job here. So I guess I
Yeah.
can just kind of narrate.
Thanks for flipping.
Drink some water too.
All right, it starts to slow down a bit there. You're doing good, but try to peel up the cleanest possible slab. I'm not saying you're not doing that, but you know, you're in the danger zone there. Gotcha.
I'm gonna move that bucket because I feel like it's still really visible from the road.
Good thinking.
Let's put that there. And maybe our stretcher too.
Yeah, that thing is mad visible, huh?
That's probably fine. That's on end, so they can only see the narrow side of it.
Our surfboard?
We're surfing up here, dude. Land surfing.
The emergency way down.
I wonder if there are any famous surfers from Wyoming.
Kelly Slater?
What's up?
Kelly Slater?
Really? Jim Surfman.
Jim Surfman.
And yeah.
Don DeStefan.
I was always so
And
jealous of people who had
Allison Wave Rider.
waves. She got her arm chewed off.
Yeah. By a cuttlefish.
Wow. Of all the things to cuddle one's arm.
Alright, let me grab that camera. Oh, and holy cow. Looks like we're getting a raid from Lordy. Well,
Thank you, Lordy.
hello Lordy and Raiders. I hope you're doing well.
Oh, Lordy.
It's good to have you here. Yeah, good stuff. How How was the making and or crafting, Lordy? I hope it was good. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Here, let me pick you up for a second, and let's get this camera set up, slung over my back again. There we go. And there we are. Yeah. Hello everybody, and if you're just waltzing in, like I think many people are, we've got, what, 330 something people watching right now? Welcome to Paleontologizing. I'm glad you're here. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. So I'm here with a group of paleontologists and volunteers out here. We're digging up a duckbill dinosaur out in the wilds of western Wyoming. And this is almost certainly going to be a new species just based on the time that we're working in here. So these dinosaurs evolve really quickly, and we don't have any dinosaurs at all named from this particular rock formation with this particular age of rocks. So just about anything that we find here is going to be new. So what you're witnessing here is it's pretty special. Not to brag or anything. I'm glad you're here. And broadcasting to you live via satellite right now. Let's go take a look at the Starlink dish and router and our solar battery over there. I'm really wishing I'd brought some solar panels out today, because we could be just charging this thing right up, but it's got enough juice for today's stream. Yeah. And there we go. There's our Starlink dish, communicating with satellites way up there. Yeah. So that's the reason I can broadcast from the middle of the Wyoming desert. Yeah. So again, it's great to have you here. If anybody's got any questions, do not hesitate to ask. That's what this is all about, you know? Yeah. And let's see here. Thank you, Alex Speed, for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. And yes, Milky Hoots, dinosaurs indeed. Yeah. And Lordy's not feeling well? Shoot, Lordy, I hope you feel better soon, too. It's no fun. Yeah. And let's see here. Where in Wyoming? In western Wyoming, Rodan. Yeah, kind of near the town of Green River, if you know where that is. Yeah. And why are you guys not using a tent for shading? It's too windy. It's me, Delano. This is actually like a pretty wind-free day, compared to what we normally get up here. But yeah, we don't actually have any shade tarps on this crew. We will be using shade tarps later in the summer. Ethan and I and some other people are going to go work with the Utah Geological Survey out in eastern Utah, and that's near Moab, Utah, and it gets hellishly hot out there. It's probably going to be 90 or 100 degrees every day. So we use shade tarps there. But here it's like, what is it, 82 degrees out? It's beautiful. There's a light breeze. It might not really be worth having shade tarps out here, to be honest. Just make sure we use plenty of sunscreen. Yeah. Also, it gets really windy here, too, and those shade tarps will just get shredded. Alex Speed says, this is so exciting. Isn't this cool? Yeah, I'm glad you feel the same. But yeah. And Alex Speed says, when I was a kid, I read books about dinosaurs. Little did I know that some years later, I could watch them being dug out live on my PC. That makes me so happy that you said that, Alex Speed. Yes, that's what I'm trying to deliver here. Trying to do something unique here on Twitch, Just tell your friends. But yeah. Anyway. Good stuff. And who's tending to previously recorded Danny? I'm sure he's fine. Matt, I'm 33. We might be getting some new previously recorded Danny sometime soon. That's the hope. Yeah. So yeah. And Miss Yvette, I just put sunscreen, chapstick with SPF on my lips just a little while ago. They are kind of chapped, but it's very dry out here. Yeah. Rose Sim says, this channel makes a lot of people's inner child happy. I'm glad. I feel incredibly lucky to be able to go out and dig up dinosaurs and make my living talking about dinosaurs with all of you. And so it's a privilege to be able to bring this to you, and I'm glad you appreciate it. Yeah. And thank you, Comrade Kartoffel, for the Tier 1 sub. Welcome to the community. Enjoy those emotes. Yeah. One thing that I found is that if you spam dinosaur emotes in other people's chats, they tend to like that rather than getting annoyed. Everybody loves dinosaurs. So use that information as you will. But yeah. Good stuff. Oh, and yeah, Lugnuto dinosaur reconstructions from the 1850s. Shoot, when I'm back in my office streaming from there, I'll show you some 3D printed 1850s dinosaur reconstructions, like Waterhouse Hawkins Iguanodon from 1854. Good stuff. Yeah. And Comrade says this is legit cool. I appreciate you saying that, Comrade. It's great to have you here. Yeah. Here, let's go take another look at the quarry, and we'll see Quinn and Ethan paring down that jacket. Yeah, here we go. Very nice. So this is the underside of the jacket. Yesterday you saw us put that strip right where Quinn's left hand is by the oyster knife. Right there, yeah. That's the strip that we put underneath to help hold it together. And then we had two little pedestals holding it up. So Quinn and I spent a big part of the morning thinning those pedestals out to the point where we could get it flipped, and now, beautiful. I mean, look at this. This is how it's supposed to go. So very nice. Ethan, how far down do you think the dennery is going to be in here?
Probably till about here.
Till about there?
Yeah, maybe about here.
Nice. We've got a lot to pare down, though.
I think so, but we'll take it easy.
Yeah. It's always, best to be cautious about this sort of thing. You don't want to get too aggressive with paring it down, or you risk destabilizing everything.
It is a conflict between light enough and dangerous enough.
Yeah. Too heavy, and then you risk dropping it, and that's not good.
Too light, you risk damaging the bone in the jacket before you actually even get it out of the place.
Yep. Something kind of comes with experience and
making the right call.
Yeah, Ethan and I have been digging dinosaurs for a long time, and yeah. And then even if you make a perfect jacket, things can still go wrong. Did I ever tell you about that time that someone on an MOR crew pressed the wrong button in a helicopter and dropped a full Triceratops skull?
What happened to the skull?
You can imagine.
Was it not stable?
I don't think it's been prepped yet. It was a site called Horn Resounding.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
How did you hear from the helicopter pilot after? Like, was he really sorry? Or?
No, it wasn't his fault. It was one of the crew members was in there. And,
that's what I mean. Whoever did the foul up.
Oh, I think they were pretty contrite about it. Yeah.
That's good.
I don't think I just would push a random button on a helicopter. I don't care what it is, but
it could be like a basket of kittens or. Like
I think the idea was it was the push to talk button, but it didn't turn out to be the push to talk button. It was the release the cargo load button.
Release the Kraken button. That's funny.
Anyway, we don't have helicopters here, so we don't have to worry about that.
We don't have that problem.
Yeah.
We don't have any Triceratops.
Lucky us.
I'm glad. We actually turned out a bunch of helicopters just for that reason.
We have to shoo them away every morning with a broom. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. A broom and, surface-to-air missiles. Not really. I don't know why I'm saying this. But yeah. Yeah. And Kasami4 says, could the dinosaur blood type help or negate fossilization based on mineral or acidity? Maybe not blood type, but like the pH of the soil or the surrounding environment definitely did affect fossilization. We were talking about this earlier, like areas that are really acidic, you might not have bones surviving to be fossilized.
Like in rainforests and stuff like that.
Yeah, really acidic soils, stuff just gets eaten away. It might be like more alkaline environments that are more conducive to preserving bone. But, yeah. You said we've got a sedimentologist coming here pretty soon, right?
To help hold our hand through this?
Yeah. Be able to determine, like, what ancient environment this was. I know, I see sandstone and I think, oh yeah, fluvial environment. This is
that's the easy
a channel sand or something. That's like, yeah. That's like you said, the easy answer, kind of the default answer. But there's probably something more interesting going on here. Did you say you had a big piece of wood over here? Is it still over there?
Oh yeah, I think it's...
Oh, that's it there, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. But there's like big pieces of wood from this site. Yeah, look at that. Nice.
That was good.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess that is consistent with like a channel sand, but maybe this is a mangrove swamp. Maybe it's from a beach or something. Maybe it's like a big sandbar, like in a slow-moving river or something. Hopefully when we have somebody whose job it is to figure out the sedimentology here, they will, they can help us out with that. Yeah. Anyway, let's see here.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is, I can say too many words and it makes less sense.
Florida was bad for fossils because teeth have the consistency of like gum. Yeah. Armatory. Yes, indeed. But yeah. And Lenina, thank you for reposting that from Sarah Blam. She says, my 10-year-old wants to know, how big is this dinosaur's brain? Ooh. How big would the brain be on a big hadrosaur like this?
Probably about this big.
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger. I don't know. Yeah, like that. No.
The skull's probably about this big. The brain case is about that big.
And the brain inside.
The brain part's probably about this big.
Yeah. So maybe about the size of like a hamburger. I don't know. Yeah. Would that
really
be
smart hamburger?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Would that be larger or smaller than a 10-year-old's brain? Maybe about the same size. Well, how big is the 10-year-old's head, I guess?
Depends on the size of the 10-year-old,
yeah.
What 10-year-old's brains have you seen, Danny?
Luckily, none. In person, yeah. I was a teacher for a while, but I didn't teach 10-year-olds, and also, thankfully, I didn't get to see any of my students' brains. Didn't have to see any of my students' brains, I should say. Yeah, usually if you're looking at someone's brain, there's a problem. Unless maybe you're a doctor. But yeah. So anyway. But yeah, so this is an animal that would be like 40 feet long, but it's got a head maybe 3 or 4 feet long, something like that. But I don't know. Dinosaur brains weren't particularly large, but that didn't mean they were stupid. Birds have comparatively small brains for their size, for their volume anyway, and some birds are incredibly intelligent. So, yeah. What I can say about dinosaur brains and dinosaur intelligence is dinosaurs were just as intelligent as they needed to be, and they were remarkably successful. They ruled this planet for about 150 million years, and, lack of brains was not a problem for them. Certainly not. Or they wouldn't have lasted so long. Yeah. Pipcat says, do you think dinosaurs dreamed like we do? And do all creatures dream? I mean, not all creatures. Forgive me for presuming, but I don't think sagebrush dreams. I doubt that bacteria do. Or wildflowers. Or, lichen. I don't think, they're having very interesting dreams. But a lot of animals do dream. I think of that as like a tetrapod thing, so like land-living vertebrate animals. But, some fishes might dream too. I really don't know. And do invertebrates dream? Do octopus have dreams? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think birds do, though. And birds are literally dinosaurs. Birds are the only dinosaurs that survived that asteroid impact at the end of the Cretaceous. And I think birds can dream, so why not their dinosaur ancestors? I don't know. It's a good question. Like, these are good science questions that are difficult to answer. But they're certainly interesting. Yeah. Oh, you meant animals. Okay, Pimp Cat. Sorry, I was giving you crud for that. But yeah. Whales might dream, says Guy. I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah. Ice Ellen says, I think my Plecostomus dreams. Your algae eater fish? Maybe. Yeah. Do androids dream of electric sheep? When they're plugged in, Mayor Space. But not if they're out of juice. Could they figure out the other species of that tree from that sample? I'm not sure what you mean, Astronomy Show. Could you rephrase? I don't think I understand. Yeah. Subamp says, maybe birds survived because they can dream. Ooh. Yeah. I was trying to tie that into the movie Inception, and it didn't quite work. Yeah. What do birds dream about then? Yeah, bird stuff, you know? Other birds, bugs, flying, probably flying. Yeah. Are there theories as to why birds survived when others didn't? Asked Bravo Alpha Echo. I mean, it seems to be because birds were small. The pattern seems to be, when that asteroid hit 66 million years ago, that basically every animal larger than like a loaf of bread died. With a few exceptions. There's some crocodiles that survived, maybe some kind of semi-largish sharks and stuff. But for the most part, if you're a big animal, you require more food, it's more difficult to find shelter. You're just more vulnerable to a cataclysmic event like that. You can't just go bury yourself in a tiny hole and then, you know, feed off bits of crud for the next, 6 years or whatever until the plants start growing again. So yeah. And again, I should hasten to add that not all birds survived. There's probably something like 90% of the bird species alive when the asteroid hit died out. So like the asteroid got them. It seems to be only birds, like smallish birds that lived on the ground maybe, were the ones that survived. Ones that could eat seeds and lived on the ground and were fairly small. Because yeah, all the birds that lived in trees and nested in trees, it's like, well shoot, if all the trees are gone, then you're gone too, So yeah, there's a big evolutionary bottleneck right there, where only a few species survived, and everything that all the creatures that we have around today are descendants of creatures that survived that cataclysm 66 million years ago. Yeah. But yeah. And the tree sample near the site. Can they figure out the tree species? We can't. But maybe a paleobotanist could. We've been trying to collect any important plant parts that we dig up, because that could be a really important clue for figuring out, what the ancient climate was like, and just what's going on in this environment. But we're not fossil plant experts here. Certainly not. But somebody is. And Frank Big Time says being at the top of the food chain is rough when most of the food chain disappears. Exactly. Yeah. And did the large ocean creatures die during the asteroid impact? They did, Harry Vetch. Not just during the impact, but also after. Because basically the marine food web would have been really disrupted. Just, yeah, really, really messed up. Because if you block out the sun, because there's all this soot and dust and stuff, crud up in the atmosphere, if you block out the sun, then all of those photosynthetic plankton, the ones that, and like diatoms and stuff like that, they die. And if they die, then the zooplankton that eat them die. And then the fishes that eat the zooplankton die. And the cephalopods that eat those fishes die. And like basically the whole food web collapses. So yeah, all the mosasaurs and plesiosaurs and a lot of the big sea turtles and critters like that died out. And all the ammonites. These really cool, almost octopus in a coiled shell kinds of critters. They'd been going for like 400 million years or something like that. And then, bow, they're gone. Just like that. So it was a bad time to be an ocean animal too. But yeah. How big is an asteroid? Well, asteroids can vary in size, Sarah Blam, a lot. But the one that hit the Yucatan Peninsula and caused the extinction of the dinosaurs and plesiosaurs and mosasaurs and like maybe 70% of all other life on Earth, that big asteroid was about the size of San Francisco. Probably about 7 miles across. Yeah, and it happened to hit in a really, really bad spot where it threw up a whole bunch of really deadly crud up into the atmosphere, and yeah, it was kind of a perfect storm, honestly. Really bad. And Smorphosaurus, I hope you feel better soon. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Guy Coma Threep Good says, what's your What's your one argument against the climate change deniers? I guess it would be... Oh, goodness. It's a good question. I guess it would be, climate scientists and people like paleontologists have investigated every single claim that's ever been brought up by climate change denialists and found all of them wanting. It's like, we have a pretty good handle on what's going on here. And, is it like, are we all part of some grand conspiracy, or are we all stupid, or like, what do you think? What are you saying about us, climate change denialists? Yeah. And how much are the oil companies paying you? There's a lizard. Oh, hey, lizard. Let's go chase this lizard for a minute. I looked this up. This is a western sagebrush lizard, I think. And there. Oop. Harassing the local wildlife. There he is. Oop. I don't know how well you can see with the camera, but we'll probably have some more out here sunning themselves and doing lizard things. We'll catch some more lizards here. 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah. It's after the Starlink. The Starlink is way over there, so you'll have quite the journey to get there. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah. Let's see. It's me, Delano says, if you had one day to spend in the past, which period would you choose, given you were perfectly protected and not in any danger? Oh, good question. I'd want to pick one specific time in the age of dinosaurs, but which time would be the most informative, Do you go with the kind of the cliche answer and say, oh yeah, the very end of the age of dinosaurs. I want to see Triceratops and T-Rex. Or do you choose a really... I would want to know what the dinosaurs look like in the Middle Cretaceous here in North America. Maybe like Coniacian stage or something. In, say, I don't know, Utah or Wyoming. I think that would be really informative because we do not know hardly anything about the animals that lived at the time then. And that'd be really cool to see. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I could come up with a bunch of different answers for that. It would be cool to see, what color is T-Rex actually and stuff. Like, see some dinosaurs that we actually think we know a lot about. And then, be able to actually test some of our ideas. That would be cool. Rather than just seeing brand new dinosaurs that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody's ever dug up before. I don't know. There's a few different ways I can answer that question. I'm assuming this is not like a serious question. You don't have a time machine in your backyard. If you do, send me a DM. But yeah. Where are you at in Wyoming? In western Wyoming, kind of near the town of Green River. Yeah. This kind of landscape here. It's got a certain austere beauty to it. For certain. Yeah. And it would be kind of cool to see the first dinosaurs, Rose Sims. Yeah. See like Eoraptor and Herrerasaurus, but that's the thing, is that there were not very many dinosaurs at the beginning of the Age of Dinosaurs. They start off small, and they all basically look pretty much the same. They're like little two-legged meat eaters. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be very cool to see that, and I wouldn't turn that down, but I don't know if I would choose that as the time to go back to, You'd only see a couple species of dinosaur, because there weren't very many back then at the very beginning. And windy today, says Oliver. I mean, it's Wyoming, Yeah, we've actually been really lucky. Yesterday it wasn't very windy at all. Today, this is also still not super windy. Like, we get easily 40, 50 mile an hour gusts through here. So yeah. We've honestly been very lucky that it's not been very windy yet. And it's still not very windy right now, comparatively speaking. But yeah. Oh, and Guy Come Threepgood says, here in Norway we only have trolls, no dinosaurs. Do you know of any bones amid all these rocks? Or do you know of any discoveries in Scandinavia? I do. There's actually... I want to say there's a few bits of dinosaur that have been discovered in Norway from like core drilling or something like that, like oil exploration. But we don't really know what they are or anything. You're right in that there's not a lot of dinosaurs known from there. Definitely not. But would Svalbard count? That island? Because I know dinosaur fossil footprints have been found there. On the island of Svalbard, I think. So yeah. And you can look that up. It's cool stuff. Yeah. And Cliff says, if budget wasn't an issue, are there electronic devices that would help you find bones amid all these rocks? Nope. No. Even if money were no object. Here, I'll show you the quarry again, just to give you an idea of like what the strata is that we're working in and what it looks like. I think a lot of people get the impression that it's just like soil or something that we're digging dinosaurs out of, but it's not. It's rock. Solid rock. And ground penetrating radar or LiDAR or any of this stuff is just not something that would be very useful here. Yeah, I mean, shoot, even just looking with your eyes. Like here we've got, this denary of a duckbill dinosaur, and there it is in the rock. It's going to be largely the same density. Yeah, technology isn't going to help you with that. You just got to dig very carefully and know what you're looking at. Yeah. Nice work, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah. This is not going to be that tricky to carry down.
No, it'll be a little heavy, but we got the backboard,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold this side.
Want to hold this side over here?
Oh, I push down.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Really hard? Yep.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
It's the end of that corner.
Cool. How much further do you think you'll thin it down?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But not by too much, I think.
Yeah. Looks like
Maybe
it's pretty low.
A couple more inches and then we'll probably call it.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. Harry says, I wonder if you could use high-res cameras and AI image classification to find surface fossils. I mean, you're welcome to try, I suppose, but even like people who are well trained in finding fossils sometimes have difficulty with this sort of thing. Trying to get an AI to do that. Good luck. Yeah. It's something I find, on Twitch, everybody's all about technology and everything, and everybody thinks that all these problems can be solved using new tech, and that's just not really how it works in paleontology. Yeah. We still find fossils the old-fashioned way, the same way that people did back in the 1870s. Many of our methods are exactly the same as they used back then. There are certain advances, like our glues are a whole lot better than they used to be back then. And now we've got internal combustion engines, we can drive a truck down to the bottom of that road and then load the fossils into it rather than using like a horse and cart or a wagon or something. We've got helicopters and we can take GPS readings and stuff like that. But for the most part, the actual minute-to-minute work that we do in a dinosaur quarry like this it's remarkably similar to what old Cope and Marsh's crews were doing back in the 1870s. It's not much has changed. Burlap and plaster and digging in the ground with hand tools and fingernails. Yeah. Oh, but they had nails at the local hardware store back in 1870. I think you're probably right about that, Captain Crunk. I think you're probably right. Yeah. But yeah. And there are dinosaurs outside. A bunch of geese. Those count, Zuloon. Those count. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to be too dismissive about the whole AI identifying fossils things. That might work if the fossils were cleaned and in a museum drawer. Then maybe AI could identify them or say, yep, that's a fossil there in that museum drawer. But out here, this is basically what we're looking at, you know? So this might even be a good spot to like look for microfossils, perhaps. So you're picking through this, and then you're looking for distinctive textures and shapes, but these things can break in a million zillion different ways. They can be weathered in all kinds of crazy fashions. So it really kind of takes human intelligence to be able to pick them out and just spot them in the first place. It's not something that I would trust a computer to do. Maybe 50 years down the line or something, AI will be able to handle a task like that. But for right now, it's like, it takes a lot of training for a human being to be able to do that. So, I don't know. I'd say it's a much, much harder problem than, say, like, you know, self-driving cars or something. And I'm not convinced those are ever going to work either. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm just not holding my breath on it. Hey, Brannington, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Booty Raider wants to know, how much longer will it take to uncover the rest of the remains? In this quarry, probably a few seasons. Yeah, we're not going to be done with this at the end of this season, I don't think. Especially since we're dealing with skull elements. Those are super important to get out. And, yeah, right to the left of Quinn there is where we're trying to expand this quarry out to the west. And, yeah, hopefully we'll find a lot more fossils in there, but we only have, like, maybe a week left here, something like that. So it's, yeah. This will be something that'll have to continue next summer, for sure. Anyway, yeah. And Trek Nerd says, who would want to lug the equipment out there when some guy can just go walk up there with nothing but his eyeballs? Yeah, and hopefully a good hat and some good boots. Hopefully he's got clothing, too. But, point taken, Trek Nerd, point taken. Yeah. Yeah. And do you have to protect the site between seasons so it doesn't get naturally disastered on? Yes, Gary and Kellis. We'll close it out, probably put a tarp underneath and then bury the tarp. That kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, and to protect it from poachers too, Lenina. Good point. Although, we haven't really had that here because people don't really realize that there are dinosaurs here yet. So we're trying to keep that kind of hush-hush. Which is why I've been a little bit cagey about what our location is. But, yeah. And other areas you really do have to worry about fossil poachers. Like, I've worked sites in the Hell Creek where, yeah, you just get, like, souvenir hunters and just, you know, hikers and hunters and people who come through and they'll just destroy things. Just, they don't care. Like, I don't know. I've heard horror stories about stuff in Utah. In Utah, it's especially bad, apparently. Yeah, people will just come through and they'll see like a winter jacket that's over a dinosaur fossil, and they'll just pry it open and like take a hammer and just hammer out just random chunks of dinosaur bone, and they'll just take them home in their pockets or whatever. People can be awful. Yeah. So, gotta watch out for that kind of thing around here. In general, I guess. Yeah. And the Subamp says, why is the digging season so short and in summer? For the weather? Yeah. For maybe like 9 months out of the year, this will all be covered by snow. Again, we're out in western Wyoming right now. And it gets really, really cold during the fall and the winter and the spring. And even if you come out too early during the summer, like if you're here in like late May or early June, you might get rained out every day. You might get crazy thunderstorms blowing through. There's like a pretty short window when you can actually work in a place like this and get stuff done. Yeah, up here in the high desert, it's weather gets crazy. It really does. So I hope that answers your question, Rose Sims. Steely Dan, how are you doing? Movie idea, evil paleontologist, think the well-funded jerk from Twister, tries to use advanced tech to steal the glory of digs from an old-school scientist. There you go. I'd watch that. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, an Afro Bandit Girl. Yep, summer is because we get clear weather here and it's not freezing cold. And Melon Derp, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Shoot, we do have like almost 500 people watching. I feel like I should do a station break real quick. Introduce people to the channel. Welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch doing dinosaur paleontology. We've got hadrosaur skeleton that we're digging up right now. Hadrosaur skull, actually, from what's probably a new species of duckbill dinosaur out in western Wyoming. Normally, I stream every weekday from my office back in the San Francisco Bay Area, talking about the latest fossil discoveries, new publications, answering people's questions, doing 3D modeling and printing and artwork and all kinds of stuff. But it's summertime, and in summertime, dinosaur paleontologists go out and dig up dinosaurs. That's what we're doing here. And so happy to be able to bring you along for the ride. And we're broadcasting live via satellite right now. There's the satellite dish right up there. And there's Ethan and Quinn at the hadrosaur quarry right now. Yeah. But yeah. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? Yeah. And yes, R.A. Morley, a live dinosaur dig. I'm going to be doing this until about mid-August. In a few weeks, I'm going out to eastern Utah. We're going to be digging up dinosaurs near the city of Moab. Town. The town of Moab. You know, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. That's not a city, that's a town. You know? It's got fewer than 400,000 people. That's a town. Anyway, yeah. So I'm really excited about that, and I'll be live streaming from there. But yeah. How do you get good Wi-Fi out there? Well, I'll show you. Let's go take a look at the Starlink dish again. Yeah. And Melon Derp says, is it true? One of the Jurassic Park movies said about fossil being much smoother than the rock around it. Not really. It varies a lot. In this situation, the bone is rougher than the surrounding rock because it has bone texture, and the surrounding rock is just sandstone. So yeah, that's not true. I remember that scene from Jurassic Park 3 at the beginning. Yeah, it's not. Maybe it's true half the time, but then it's not true the other half the time. So I'd say it's not true. Anyway, yeah. This is our Starlink setup here. The only reason I can afford this is because of this wonderful community here, who's supported me for several years now. It's finally paying off. We're getting fieldwork streams this summer. So yeah, this is how we can broadcast from the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. Yeah, I've got a solar battery there under that kafaya. And yeah. So Starlink is plugged into this. We're at only 34%. Uh-oh. Let me check the battery on my camera too. Make sure it's not going to run out on us. But yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. There you go, Pimp Cat. Don't forget to leave some Reese's Pieces so E.T. can phone home. Sure. Yeah. Let me look at the battery on this to make sure it's not going to go out, because then we'd lose our camera. Oh, we're at 1. Uh-oh. The stream might get cut short today if the battery runs out. We'll have to see. But I can charge it up tonight using the solar panels and the battery that I have back in camp. Melendrip, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. I appreciate that. That's the reason that I'm able to do this full-time, is because of you wonderful supporters and subscribers. So thank you. Yeah. How much power does the Starlink terminal require? 47 watts it was at just a minute ago. Yeah, good question. It fluctuates. It goes from like 20 watts to like 55 watts, I've noticed. Yeah. And I'm glad you like the emotes. I made all those myself, Melenderp. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy them. Yeah. And Red Goblin says, would you rather find out which dinosaur theories are wrong or what theories are right? That's the same thing, Red Goblin. Yeah. I mean, that's how science works. Science works via what we call falsification. So, if you talk to like philosophers of science, who can be a little pedantic sometimes, they might tell you, well, strictly speaking, in science we can never prove that something is true. We can only failed to prove it false after trying many, many, many times. And I guess you could say that's true. I don't know. But anyway, in science, we're always trying to disprove ideas. And if everyone and their brother tries to disprove an idea using various methods and they can't, if they can't disprove it, that might mean that it's actually true. That's how science works, via falsification. So yeah. Like I'm doing a project on spinosaurids right now, trying to figure out how they would have caught fish. And so we're basically looking at some different proposed methods for them catching fish and then falsifying them, saying this can't work because of this, that can't work because of that. And the ones that we're left with, kind of a process of elimination, that's what we go with. But in the future, somebody might come along and find a new method and then be able to disprove our idea. That's how science works, you know? As a scientist, you can never be afraid to be wrong, I guess, because, I mean, yeah, you're always trying to disprove your own ideas. And once you can't, then you might go, oh, shoot, that might be true. And then you put this idea out there, you publish it in a paper, another scientist pounce on it, and they try and disprove it. And if they can't, it might be because it's true, you know? That's how it works. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And science is not afraid of moving forward. Exactly how do, yeah. And you might have an idea that you're really, really attached to. Maybe you've got a strong emotional attachment to a certain hypothesis, and like you really, really want it to be true. As a scientist, you've got to recognize that, like, oh shoot, I might be biasing myself here. Let me try and disprove this myself. You know, and if you can't, it might turn out to actually be true. Yeah. But yeah. And Saranlin, oh yeah. That paper, I was hoping to get it submitted for publication before I left to do fieldwork this summer, and that didn't happen. So it won't be out until, I don't know, at least a few months. I still have to finish the illustrations for it, and now I have to make some modifications to the paper because there are some other new Spinosaur papers that came out, which mean that I have to include some of those findings, and I gotta, yeah. It's really nice being in the middle of like a renaissance in Spinosaur research, but it also means that it's hard to keep my manuscript up to date because so many new things are coming out all the time. So yeah. Anyway. Trek Nerd says if the camera dies, it can be connected to the battery. I mean, I guess, but it'd have to be stationary at that point because I'm not carrying that thing around. But yeah, keeping up with the literature must be a full-time job in itself, says Xander Jiggles. I mean, it can be, yeah. There are not as many people publishing on dinosaurs as on other things. Like, shoot, if you're trying to keep up with the literature on, like, cancer research or something, that's extremely difficult because new papers come out literally every single day. Yeah, I had a friend who was like studying like the evolution of cancer and stuff like that, and to try and keep up with that literature is a full-time job in and of itself. There might be 20 new papers in a day that are all relevant. For dinosaur stuff, it's like every few days you'll have a cool new paper that comes out, maybe. Yeah. I've not taken out the ukulele on stream or at all during this trip, Big Bad Eric. Yeah, not yet. Yeah. And let's see here. And Teddy Ruxpin, how are you doing? They say, sorry I'm new, but have you made any fossil discoveries yourself? That's not a dumb question. No, I found many, many fossils myself. Mostly in the Hell Creek and Judith River formations out in Montana. I haven't had a lot of time to actually prospect here yet. I found a few scrappy bits of dinosaur on Friday, but they didn't turn into anything. They were just isolated little bits.
Yeah, I'll come to the edge and wave my arms.
But yeah. Oh, and I guess we've got a new crew member showing up. Ethan's going to go flag them down. Yeah. So yeah.
Hi, Donnie.
Hey, Quinn, let me come say hello. And we'll bring Twitch chat, too. Yeah.
Hey. Under this boiling sun.
It's only like 80-something today. This is nothing. Man, we get you to Doling's Bowl and it's gonna be hellishly hot.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll get an AC unit in my pants or something.
Well, on the bright side, though, the elevation is lower there. This definitely feels hotter just because there's so much less atmosphere. We're at like 7,500 feet or something. So
Yeah.
that definitely makes it worse. Yeah.
What's the elevation of Dollings?
It's probably like 4,000 something. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
You're in a bowl.
Moab, Utah. Somebody in chat look that up. What's the elevation in Moab, Utah? Yeah. But yeah.
How do you think it's coming?
It looks like it's coming really well. Nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah, we lifted it up. It was quite heavy. You might have heard me say a swear. I'm sorry.
Nobody heard that. That did not happen. No. Yeah. But yeah, we've got a new crew member showing up.
Sure do.
Nice.
Uncle
Cool.
Eric.
What's that?
Uncle Eric.
Uncle Eric.
He's not my uncle, but he's a nice guy.
Okay.
He's a geology student. He'll be up in about 5 minutes.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, for anybody who just waltzed in recently, this is pretty exciting. This is the dendary, one of the lower jaw bones of our duckbill dinosaur here. Those are the tooth rows that Quinn is pointing to. Yeah, so this is the lower jaw. There's the lower margin of the jaw there. This is where the beak would attach, what we call the predentary bone that you have in all ornithischian dinosaurs. And so somewhere under Quinn's butt or near under his knee or somewhere like that, you might have where the jaw articulates with the skull, but that's still under the rock right there. We haven't followed that in yet.
Is my butt safe?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I think we're good. But yeah. Oh yeah, 4,025 feet in Moab. Thank you, Jody Fish. Appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah. The UV isn't quite as bad there just because you've got more air in the way.
It's still like 98 degrees.
It does get hot there for sure, yeah. But yeah. And I've never done any paleobotany work, no. Not even the smallest bit, honestly. But I've got friends who do paleobotany. And Grim Deviant, how are you doing? It's a first-time viewer and chatter. 2-part question. What's your favorite or most memorable dinosaur you've excavated, and which one would you most like to find that you haven't dug up yet? Great questions, Grim Deviant. I dug up what will hopefully soon be described as a new species of horned dinosaur in the Judith River Formation of Montana. That would have been 2012, so a while ago. Holy cow. I found that one just a few miles south of the Canadian border. And then what would I most like to find? Oh boy. I would love to find a bone bed containing several complete spinosaurids in articulation in North America, say in Utah. You know, why not shoot for the moon? Because then if you miss, you will be floating through the endless cold vacuum of space for all eternity. Yeah. But yeah. Good questions, Grim Deviant. Good questions. Gotta think big. There you go. Yeah. And I have seen the book Danny and the Dinosaur. That was written about me, Steely Dan. Yeah. Back in, what was that, 1951? Yeah. They got my hair color wrong, though. I'm not blonde like Danny from that book. They took some real liberties with the story. But yeah. And let's see. Gary Ankela says, do you feel weird walking on top of the ground where dinosaur bones may be hidden? Yes, Gary Ankelis, but only because I always feel weird. Yeah. No, honestly, it's not. It's normal. I've been doing this since 2011. So it's a cool feeling to know that, like, shoot, under any of my boot prints could be a dinosaur, but I don't know. After you're working out here for a few weeks, it's like you kind of get used to that idea, honestly. It just comes with the territory, you know? Yeah. And Dr. Sisu, thank you for that tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Paleontologizing. enjoy not having to watch any ads, and enjoy those emotes too. I think they're fun. I made them. Splendid Lee, thank you for saying it's an amazing stream. I appreciate that. Yeah. Teddy Ruxpin says, how do you know where to look? Well, shoot, on what scale? What do you mean? Like, we're out here in western Wyoming right now because we've got rocks of the right age to find dinosaurs. If you look in rocks that are younger than 66 million years old, no dinosaurs, except for maybe a bird here and there. You look in rocks that are older than like 240 million years ago, no dinosaurs. So you got to find rocks of the right age. Then you got to find rocks of the right type. You need sedimentary rocks that were laid down, usually in a terrestrial environment. We didn't have any dinosaurs that lived in the ocean, except for a few birds again. So yeah, you got to look in terrestrial sediments for the most part. That's where you'll actually find dinosaurs. It's in rocks from dry land. Yeah. And then you've got to go out and find where the rocks are exposed on the surface. So out here in western Wyoming, we've got not a whole lot of vegetation. You've got lots of bare rock right there on the surface. And this is the sort of territory that we find dinosaurs in most easily. We look for little bits that are eroding out on the surface while we're prospecting. We don't just go dig a random pit somewhere. We very carefully walk along and look at the surface like this until we see what looks like it might be bone, and then we pick it up. And if it is bone, we try and follow it into where it's coming out. And then we dig a hole to see what's down there. Does that make sense? Yeah. 514 viewers a moment ago. That is excellent, Astronomy Show. Thank you. Holy cow. Yeah. And Recreational Cephalopod. What a great name. They say, when you say dinosaur quarry, does that mean you hope to find a lot more fossils? Or that is where your dig site is? That's where our dig site is. So it wouldn't be a quarry unless we had fossils. So right now where Quinn and Ethan are working on... Well, right now they're working on a jacket there, but that's... yeah, this is from in the quarry. So we wouldn't refer to it as a quarry unless we actually had bones coming out of it. So that's why this is a quarry. Yeah. Yeah, you laughing at the questions? You okay? You need some water?
Yeah, good. Sorry, that was like...
Oh, I think I know what happened. Gross. Crew's been kind of gassy today. So that's what's going on. But yeah. And yep, no, plenty of sunscreen, Afro Bandit Girl, as always. Yes, indeed.
I don't know, I could.
But yeah. And Balmer says, nice connection. Thank you. Yeah, that's again courtesy of the Starlink over there, talking to the satellites, broadcasting live via satellite right now. Yeah. We were just doing a Joe Pesci impression earlier, DJ Lost Boy, before I started streaming. Yeah. What are we, clowns? Do we amuse them? That's not a good Joe Pesci, but yeah. Yeah, anyway. We've got a new crew member approaching from over there, so as not to spook them, let's go over and take a look at the Starlink again. Yeah. Oh, and holy cow, JJIGAEBUDA, Jigay Boudet, how are you doing? Twitch staff here, matching subs in the channel for the next 1 minute. Holy cow. JJ, I really appreciate that. Did you see that, everybody? Matching subs for the next minute. Get those subs in now. Thank you so much, JJ. I really appreciate that. And thank you also for just helping make this such an incredible platform. I started doing science outreach here on Twitch just over 3 years ago, and holy cow, has it been wonderful. I've been able to go full-time with this, and this summer is the first time I'm actually doing regular, in-the-field streams like this, using the Starlink. Yeah. Satellite internet. So thank you, JJ, for helping make this such an incredible platform and such a wonderful place for science outreach. Yeah. Certainly changed my life to be able to do this full-time and fund my research and outreach and everything else by doing this. It's opened a lot of doors for me, so thank you for that. And thank you for all those, holy cow, all those gift subs, everybody. Is the minute already up? I don't know. I should have set a timer or something. But holy cow, thank you, thank you. This is incredible, everybody. Fantastic. By the way, this dig that we're on right now was funded almost entirely through donations from this community here. So we would not be out here right now in this capacity were it not for the generosity of this community. We're digging up several new species of dinosaur. And yeah, that's thanks to you, everybody. So thank you for that. Holy cow. Yeah. And Subsplosion is amazing. It really is. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. And holy cow, JJ, thank you so much for those gift subs. That is incredible. I really appreciate it. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. And shoot, as we were speaking, we've got a new crew member who just showed up, so I'm going to go meet somebody new. And, yeah, awesome. Holy cow. And Drew Ellen says, so dinosaurs were so abundant and there's so many fossils that you can peek at what shows up in the surface by chance and hit a discovery? I mean, yeah, that's how we find pretty much all fossils, really. We're all like large vertebrate fossils you find by prospecting like that. So it's not just dinosaurs. If you're out trying to find the skeletons of mammoths or mastodons or ancient rhinoceros or ancient horses or before the dinosaurs, maybe like, you know, non-mammalian synapsids like Dimetrodon or something. No matter what it is, if it's an animal that's got bones, you find it by walking around and looking at the surface like that. It's not that dinosaurs were... I mean, they were super abundant. But that's not why we find them this way. That's how you find any fossil critter, you know? For the most part. Unless you're looking for, like, bugs inside of amber or something like that. And there's a different method of finding them. But yeah. If you're out trying to find fossil turtles, that's how you do it, by prospecting. Walking along and... Yeah, you gotta realize that, like, fossilization might be a pretty rare event. It might not happen all that often. But, you know, given a long enough span of time, even improbable events are certain to happen. And so when you're dealing with tens or hundreds of millions of years, you know, even rare events like fossilization happen millions of times. So, yeah, it's a numbers game, you know? Yeah. Anywho, 552 viewers, that is incredible. Oh, boy. That's excellent. Yeah. And Recreational Cephalopod says, what if you find or even start digging up a fossil outside your field? Do you call a buddy in that field and tell them, or just leave off, or what? So we'll dig it up and we'll collect it. So, like, say we find a beautiful fossil tree trunk or something like that. None of us work on fossil plants. But we will 100% collect that and then keep it in the museum collections so that somebody who actually works on fossil plants will be able to study it and write some papers on it and help advance the field of paleobotany that way, you know? Yeah. Science is it's a collective effort, you know? All for one and one for all. Yeah. So, like, none of us also work on fossil crocodile. Well, I guess Ethan actually works on fossil crocodiles. Bad example. But none of us work on fossil stingrays or you know, saw sharks or saw skates or anything. But if we find their teeth, we're 100% going to collect them so that maybe an expert in that field can look at those fossils and, yeah. It's important information no matter what it is. If I find a mammal skull over here, I'm not going to go, oh, I don't work on mammals, I'm just going to leave that. It's like, no, that's super exciting. And somebody will be able to glean a lot of good information from that. So you collect everything. Yeah. Yeah. And Subamp says, hypothetically, if that tree ends up being a new species, would you guys get credit for finding it, or would the paleobotanist get credit for identifying? Both. It's both. Yeah, they might publish a paper on it. They might invite us to be co-authors, or we would at least be acknowledged in the paper, something like that. Sometimes scientists will choose to name a new species after another scientist, just to honor them because they've helped them out in their career, or maybe that other scientist found it in the first place, and so scientist number 2 names it after them. Yeah. But that is an important thing to remember. You can't name something after yourself. There's rules against that, you know? That's not only considered very poor taste, but there's literally ICZN rules against that. The International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, kind of the rule book for what we can and can't name animals, you know? They've got specific rules. You can't name something after yourself. Yeah. And thank you, Skis on? Trying to read that leet speak. Thank you for the prime. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Since this is Twitch funded, will it be Caposaurus? Gary and Kellis? Probably not. No. Although many contributors to our fundraiser will be acknowledged in any and all papers that result from this work this summer. So, yeah. And, Mr. Ashy, I feel like I've answered this question 5 times already. How do you know where to dig? Well, we prospect. So, like, first of all, you got to get yourself into the right area with rocks of the right age and the right type. And then we walk along, stare at the ground, and we look for bits of bone that might be coming out. And if you find a bunch of bones spilling out of an area, well, you dig in, and hopefully there's a skeleton in there. You know, that's a super simplified way of putting it, but yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Ashy. And what kinds of things do we document about the site the fossils were dug up in, says Jim? Photos, samples of the surrounding rock, etc.? All of that, yeah. And we also usually make a quarry map. So earlier, Quinn and Ethan were over there nailing in some data spikes so that we could help document where exactly all of these different bones could come out from. And yeah, we'll have sediment samples that's kind of just inherent in collecting this. Like, we bring a lot of rock back just around the bone. But yeah, you might do like a micro sediment log, where like you go very carefully centimeter by centimeter up through the layer where the bones came out of, and you document what's going on with the rocks there. Like, maybe there's sandstone that's fining upward, or maybe there's, like, you know, ancient roots, like fossilized tree roots going through it, or maybe you find insect burrows from the Cretaceous or something like that. Yeah, any bit of information that we can get about a given site, it's good to have, you know? Again, this is not headhunting, this is not trophy seeking, this is scientific exploration, scientific collecting. So we gather all the data that we can. Yeah. But yeah. And as Evan says, what animals other than dinosaurs, sorry, have you dug up without looking for them? Yeah, champsosaurs, insects, lots of plant fossils. I found a few bits of mammals and stuff like that. Crocodiles, fishes, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to chat right now. It's moving fast. Let me scroll. Let's see. Mr. Ashley says, but if the bones are 2 feet deep, you could be walking over some of the greatest finds ever and miss them by a few inches. I'm sure we do, Mr. Ashy, yeah. But we would never know that they were there unless you just dig a random hole somewhere. And digging random holes is not how you find stuff. Yeah. You find it through just looking for stuff that's been eroding out for a while. Yeah. Also, we would not have permission to just go dig a series of random holes. It's not like the book or the movie Holes, you know? That's not how it works. The federal agency that oversees these public lands would be very unhappy with us if we just dug a bunch of random pits all over the landscape. It would be very destructive. Yeah. I've never found any ammonites, actually, Captain Crunk. No. Yeah. And Cool Your Jet says the battery on this camera is holding out like a champ. Well, so far, yeah. Let me check on that, actually. Yeah. And is this dissertation work? No, this is like an independent project, Nonchalant Skeleton. Yeah. So Ethan there in the baseball cap He's our crew leader here. This is all his brainchild. And, yeah, he's not doing this for his thesis or anything. He's actually still an undergrad right now. But it's pretty amazing that he's, like, leading a crew out here as an undergraduate. This is definitely going to be a big feather in his cap. Yeah. So, yeah. Here, let me get the chat back going. There we are. But yeah. Let's see. How about using some scans, says Balmer. What do you mean scans? Like document scanning? I don't know what you mean. Yeah. And Strange Hamburger, I feel like this is the 6th time we've answered this question today. Ground penetrating radar does not work for dinosaur fossils. It just doesn't. If maybe you're trying to find something that's buried in, like, soil, maybe that could work, because there'd be a significant difference in the density of the soil and the density of the object. But we're digging for dinosaur fossils in solid rock, so it's the same density. So ground penetrating radar does not pick up that kind of thing. Not like we'd have the budget for that anyway, even if it did work. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. And Claire Burr, I should make a command for ground penetrating radar, huh? If you want to make one, Claire, yeah, absolutely. And maybe I'll refine it, because knowing me, I'll probably forget. I'm out here in the field and there's a million things going on.
Over there?
Yeah. Hey, you're Eric?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Yep.
Do you mind if I bring the camera over?
Yep,
All right. And we're live with 536 viewers right now.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah. So again, chat, here's our dunnery jacket that we did the side and bottom jacket on yesterday.
The dinosaur game I played just got updated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they added 4 new dinosaurs.
Oh, which one's that?
The Isle?
Oh, we have an Isle player here.
An Isle YouTuber, are you kidding?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh, very
yeah.
cool. Very cool. What's your channel?
Stellotyrannus.
Oh, okay,
A
yeah.
few compilations.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I do, though.
I've never done the Isle. I've done a lot of Saurian.
Saurian?
Yeah.
I want to try that one, but I hear
Yeah.
the game's in development hell.
Oh, it's been stuck in the same place for a long time, yeah. It's like pre-alpha or something like that.
Yeah, the Isle just got updated.
Oh, nice.
So I'm kind of going to have to wait a little bit before I get the full experience. But yeah, Ceratosaurus,
Okay.
Troodon.
Uh-huh.
But it's basically the Troodons from that Jurassic Park game.
Oh.
Way back when they're these venomous lizards, basically.
Oh,
but
man.
Bapiausaurus, which I made.
Oh, that's
a duck,
cool. Yeah.
And
They made it into a duck?
they made it a swimming therizinosaur. It's got its claws.
That doesn't make any sense.
I played it
Yeah.
though, and it's fun.
Interesting, okay.
For what it is, like they already established it's a Jurassic Park universe, so it makes sense.
Huh.
Just accept it.
Okay.
And the final one was Gallimimus,
Gallimimus, interesting.
which is also
Okay.
Jurassic Parkified.
Gotcha.
They
Yeah.
will add a one eventually.
Well, neat. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm
How long are you going to be
excited.
staying?
I'll be here till Saturday. I'll have to leave early morning.
Gotcha.
Me and my dad want to check out Fossil Butte.
Oh, very
I've
cool.
actually never been there.
I've never been there either, yeah.
Yeah.
I take off on Friday morning.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, cool. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Yeah.
What we can get in the time we have.
Yeah. And let's see.
That's plant.
Yeah. That's a plan?
Do we even know if dinosaurs were venomous? Asked Captain Crunk. Well, there have been a couple dinosaurs that have been proposed to have been venomous. Like, I think Dave Burnham published a paper on Cynornithosaurus a while ago, a little, like, dromaeosaur. Think like a little mini velociraptor from China, but earlier in time than velociraptor. And he proposed that the grooves in its teeth were, like, for venom, but pretty much nobody has accepted this, and it's probably just the thing's got grooves in its teeth. It has nothing to do with venom. So as far as we know, there were no venomous dinosaurs, just like there are no venomous birds today. Yeah, birds are the descendants of dinosaurs. There's a few birds that are poisonous, where, like, you'll get sick if you eat them, but that's different from venomous. Like, venomous means that it's got, like, venom that it injects. Poison is more like, yeah, a venomous thing bites you or stings you. A poisonous thing, you eat it and then you get sick. That's the difference between venom and poison, from what I understand. Like, poison is secreted, venom is injected. So as far as we know, there were no venomous dinosaurs. But that could change tomorrow with a new discovery. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah. And let's see here. Big Bad Eric says, how did Gallimimus differ from its depiction in Jurassic Park? I mean, it would have had feathers for one thing. Yeah. That's the main difference, I think. Their Gallimimus is actually pretty decent. Yeah. And very funny, Rizzy Cat, a dinosaur psychic to help locate fossils. I mean, we do get certain people who are just very, very good at prospecting, where they'll happen to find things that everybody else missed. And so sometimes we joke that they're psychic or something, but yeah, anyway. Yeah. And scrolling. There are only 2 mammal species that are venomous. I think there's more than that, Oberst Solo, but it's like only a few groups of mammals. There are some venomous shrews, and they may or may not be different from Selenodon shrews, which are venomous. And then there's the platypus, which is venomous. And I think there are some like primates or stem primates that are also venomous, like some kind of thing related to like an eye from Madagascar or something like that. I think they're mildly venomous too. Oh, and the slow loris. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I think they're like primate relatives. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Vet says dinosaurs are not reptiles. I mean, they are reptiles. But if dinosaurs are reptiles, then birds also have to be reptiles. So that's kind of the point that I make usually when I say, like, don't think of dinosaurs as reptiles. They are, but birds are also reptiles if dinosaurs are. So, like, don't think of dinosaurs as being cold-blooded, slow-moving, unintelligent, solitary animals, because they're not like that. Don't think of dinosaurs as being, like, reptilian with all the stuff that comes along with it, because they're, much more bird-like. But birds are reptiles too, so yeah, dinosaurs and birds are both reptiles, strictly speaking. Yeah. And yeah, the platypus is venomous. You are correct there, Kennedy. Yeah. Teddy Ruxpin says, why does paleontology occur in remote locations? There must be fossils in urban environments. No, there definitely are, yeah. In the middle of Seoul, South Korea, one of the largest cities on the planet, there are fossil excavations going on right now. In places in, China, like in major cities, you get excavations that take place. There was a Triceratops that was dug up in Denver, Colorado a few years ago. Yeah, it happens. And then you get lots of other kinds of fossils of critters like mammoths and mastodons and giant ground sloths dug up in urban environments also. There's a ground sloth that was dug up while they were excavating the downtown Berkeley, California BART station, the rapid transit train station there. Found a big femur from a Pleistocene ground sloth. It's just that if you're going to go out prospecting like we talked about, then you want to go to a remote area like this, where there's lots and lots of territory to walk over, and you will find fossils like that. Basically, anything that gets dug up in an urban environment is because somebody dug a random hole and then 1 in a million shot, there's an important fossil in there. But if you want to go out and systematically look for interesting vertebrate fossils, you got to go to an area like this. Yeah. With lots of exposed rock where you can prospect for new bone. Yeah. Does that make sense? Are digs better in smaller or larger teams, says Afro Bandit Girl? It depends what you're doing. Often you need a big team if you have a really big site. But big teams can be expensive. It's expensive to feed everybody. Everybody's got to have a place to put their tent. Logistically, it gets complicated. So you need a big budget if you're going to have a big crew. We've got kind of a medium-sized crew right now. Our crew has fluctuated from like 5 people up through about, we might have like 20 people at the peak later this week. So yeah. It depends. Small and large teams each have their advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. But yeah. Let's see, scrolling. Was the wood that you showed us earlier fossilized? It was Gigantor, yes. That's from the Cretaceous, 73 million years old. Yeah. Let's see here. Scrolling, looking for questions. And there's bottom chat. Good. Do I know Emily Grassley? I think I've met her once before, Zevin. Yeah. Prehistoric road trip. Nice. I've never seen that, but I want to say she did some stuff with PBS a while ago or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. How much more did you guys find? Says Majar Asbunal. We haven't found too much more lately. We've been working on getting out the bones that we've already found. Although our other crew over the ridge over there just found, I think, 2 new sites today. So we've got another potential new bone bed and a bunch of new bones in at that site where I jacketed the big limb bone the other day. The T-bone site is what we call it. So yeah, there's new stuff all over the place. We're very excited. That's job security. You know, we're gonna be working this area for years to come, it looks like. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And no plans of going to Canada for fieldwork. No, GeoBliz. We're American collectors here. You know. Who knows? Maybe in the future I'll go up and work in Canada, but it would be not in this kind of capacity. I wouldn't be in any kind of leadership role. I would just be like another volunteer. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if the Canadians really let Americans come up and dig anymore. That might be like for Canadians only. If they want to actually do their own independent projects. I don't know if they'll let Americans do that. But I'm not sure. Yeah. Do you feel rushed while in the field, says Gary? What do you mean rushed? I'm not sure I know what you mean. Like we're a time crunch or something? Yeah. Job security, where you are paid like a 1 cent gumball machine. Yeah, I'm not getting paid out here. We're all volunteers here. None of us are getting paid. I guess except for me, because I'm streaming right now, and this is my job. But I'm not getting paid to dig up dinosaurs here. We don't have the budget for that. Yeah. What's my favorite type of sunscreen? Danger Tater? Probably Copper Tone Sport 30 SPF in the blue bottle. Yeah. Although it's hard to get onto my back. I got a really weird sunburn the other day on my back, and you can see like where my fingers were reaching up with sunscreen on them, but like only got those spots, so the rest is like red because I couldn't get my back very well. So I've become a recent convert to the spray-on sunscreen because I can get my own back with that. Yeah. But yeah. Can you get extensions on permits, says Cactus Jack? You can, yeah. But yeah. How's it taste, though? Not bad. Yeah, I try not to eat too much of the sunscreen, but it's not bad. Pezzy says only SPF 30? Above 30, it's all the same. Yeah, little known fact. But yeah, above 30, it's like... It plateaus very quickly, that graph. So anything above 30, and it's... Essentially, the way that you apply it is going to have a much bigger impact on your protection from the sun than like what the sun protection factor is. So yeah, basically anything above 30 is just, it's all the same. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. How do you profit other than Twitch? This is it, Ali Jew. This is how I make my living. All of my income comes from Twitch. Yeah. Yeah. An application is the key on sunscreen. Absolutely. Yeah. And Gigantor says, any current day female paleontologists? A bunch. Yeah. Holy cow. It used to be that paleontology was an extremely male field to the point where there were hardly any female paleontologists, especially working on dinosaurs. But nowadays, I think the ratio for like up-and-coming paleontologists, like current graduate students, it might be like 50-50, or it might even be majority female nowadays. Yeah, like there are certain labs where like almost everybody's female. But yeah, I don't know. But we get people of all different genders and everything. I think there's a few non-binary paleontologists nowadays, and yeah. But yeah. And thank you, Teddy Ruxpin, for the sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you kindly. Yeah. And Holly says, I'm a dermatologist. It's actually above SPF 60 that the graph reaches a plateau. Says most people apply sunscreen at 1/4 to 1/2 their prescribed thickness. Oh, interesting. So I'd always learned that, like, above SPF 30, if you're applying it once every couple hours, pretty thick, then it's the same, but... Yeah, okay. Thank you, Holly, for your expertise. I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's see here. Half the students in my class were ladies, says Captain Crunk. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There are a number of prominent female paleontologists nowadays. People like, I don't know. My mentor back when I was in high school, Dr. Patricia A. Holroyd. Yeah, Pat is, she's an expert on, like, fossil turtles and different kinds of mammals and stuff. There's people like Liz Friedman Fowler. She works on hadrosaurs and other dinosaurs. People like Holly Woodward Ballard. She's like one of the world experts on dinosaur histology. People like Karen Chin, who work on coprolites, fossilized dung. Really, really important stuff if you actually want to figure out what different animals we're eating. Yeah, I don't know. The list goes on and on and on. So yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. And yeah, we're on BLM land right here, Nonchalant Skeleton. Yeah, Bureau of Land Management land. And we actually had a visit from the BLM earlier. Some BLM officials and interns, and we had a whole BLM entourage here right before I started the stream. Yeah, and they brought us popsicles, which is really nice. So that's our taxpayer dollars at work. You gotta love it. But yeah, so they're coming to inspect the site, and they give us our excavation permit to be able to dig here, and they seem pretty happy, very excited to have dinosaurs coming out of here. It's the first time since 1937 that that's happened. So, yeah, exciting stuff. But yeah, Jody Fish says, do you think Liz may be called in on your hadrosaur here? Probably not, Jody Fish. There's a lot of people who work on hadrosaurs, and this is kind of Ethan's project. So, but I don't know. Yeah. I really like Liz's work, and I trust her, so if he's looking for a collaborator, I definitely recommend Liz. But yeah, this is Ethan's thing. When do you get to use dynamite? Never, 3D Primo. No, we don't even have any. Yeah. But yeah. How long do digs take in uncovering a dinosaur completely? That depends on so many different things, the reverse. How complete is the dinosaur? Is it an entire skeleton? Is it multiple skeletons? Or is it just a few bits and pieces? How hard is the rock? How many crew members do you have working on it? How quickly or how slowly are you working? What's your budget? Yeah, how often can you actually get out and dig? Like, how often do you have to stay back in camp because it's raining that day and stuff like that? So, every single dinosaur skeleton will take a different amount of time to excavate. Every single site will be different. No two are the same. So yeah. And holy cow, we got a raid here. Thank you for GN Marley. Welcome to Paleontologizing, you and your 80 raiders. How you doing? It's great to have you here. Shoot, we are here out in western Wyoming, streaming off the grid via satellite from a dinosaur dig. We've got a new, probably what's going to turn out to be a new species of duckbill dinosaur, hadrosaur, coming out of this quarry here. And there you see Eric and Quinn cutting up some burlap. They're going to be top jacketing, or bottom jacketing, depending on your perspective. That's lower jaw right there. That's just come out today. We just flipped this earlier on stream. So yeah. Anyway, my name is Danny Anduza. I work on dinosaurs. I'm working on dinosaurs out here, and I'm so happy to be able to share this with all of you. Yeah. Getting ready to put a cap on that thing?
Yeah, baby.
Nice.
Eric's first jacket.
Oh, first jacket, Eric?
Not too shabby. First jacket.
I know, seriously. New kind of duckbill dinosaur? Holy cow. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, yeah, G and Marley, how did your stream go? I hope it was really, really good. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah, and you're using Starlink to stream as well. Very cool, G and Marley. Where are you streaming from, if you don't mind my asking? Yeah. Again, we are out here in the deserts of western Wyoming. Yeah, fairly remote area.
Was this
Yeah. Look like you're ready to be a matador there with that.
Yeah, so the part that's all this
Toro,
part was on the
Toro.
ground. Yeah, and so we cross-checked that and flipped it. So this is the bottom.
So yeah. Very cool.
Those guys are crazy.
They really are, yeah.
Adrenaline rush. Just seeing that in front of you.
Yeah. Look, dig, jacket. There you go, Mama Bonbon. Yeah. Yeah. You don't like that sound there, Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, exciting stuff. Yeah. So in just a couple minutes, I'll show you what this process is like. They've got 3 guys over there, so they're not going to need my help for the actual jacketing part, and it'll be good for Eric to learn how to do this, because I guess this is his first jacket. And what was this area in the time in which this dinosaur lived? Jingle jangle, let me show you. So right now, this terrain looks like this. We're in the high desert of Wyoming at like 7,500 feet above sea level. This was sea level back during this time, 73 million years ago. And it was beachfront property. Right now we're in, Wyoming, landlocked state here in the US. But back during this time, there we go. This is what this area would have looked like. So here's a map of North America from about 70 million years ago. Wind is picking up. There's Wyoming right here, this square right here. So we're about there right now. So this says 70.4 million years ago. These rocks are about 73 to 71 million years old, something like that. So at the time, this shallow sea had actually risen a bit and was encroaching over to the west. And so this area would have been right there on the beach, basically. This is a dinosaur that lived on like a coastal floodplain and low-lying areas kind of between the rising Rocky Mountains to the west and then the seaway to the east. So yeah. Yeah, I got a whole roll of paper towel. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna put some separator on this jacket now. So anyway, yeah, this landscape you see behind us would have looked completely different 73 million years ago. Yeah, sea level rather than 7,000 feet in the air. Here's one of our very expensive precision pieces of scientific equipment. We've got some paper towel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Scientific equipment over there.
Yeah. Where'd you get that? Fell off a truck. Don't worry about it.
We put a couple cement shoes on it. So here, if you want to see the actual dennery.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Very nice.
So this surface, this is the bones. We flipped it. This is the bottom of the lower jaw.
Lovely.
What we covered and saw earlier was the top. And so this shape is basically the lower jaw with a bunch of dirt and roots covering it.
Nice.
And then right here is the actual bone surface there.
Beautiful.
And it's going to be going up and up and up and up. There's a little more bone surface.
That is stupid long. Wow.
It's a big jaw.
Huge animal. Holy
Pretty
cow.
size.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So we're going to hopefully
gargantuan.
get this thing off the mountain today.
Yeah, carry it down on that stretcher over there, maybe.
Yeah.
If that's necessary. It might be
man,
easier.
it might be light enough, but we don't have to. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Are you guys doing any prospecting this week?
Probably do a little bit, yeah, here and there.
I left my phone over there, so let me get that so I can look at chat. Now I'll get some water. Starting to get some dry mouth. But yeah. I think I left my phone over by the Starlink. There we are. Alright, what's chat saying? Yeah. You guys from Wyoming or the East Coast with that accent, lol? We're from all over the place, OMG, a viewer. I'm from Oakland, California. Quinn over there is from upstate New York. Yeah. Forget about it. Don't even remember it. And Ethan's from Salt Lake, Utah. And where are you from, Eric?
I'm from Layton, actually.
Oh, Layton, Utah.
Layton, Utah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So Quinn is applying some jet fuel to this basin, and then we're going to we're going to start a fire, and we're going to signal our air support, and they're going to drop some napalm all along that ridge. No, he's putting water in there so that we can start jacketing this. Yeah.
What's
think that'll be-
white rock you said again?
Underneath?
Yeah.
You said that.
Let's change that.
And Obster Solo says, how often during a dig do you run into archaeological remains, like Native American artifacts and stuff? Never. Yeah. I found an arrow, or a crew member of mine found an arrowhead once near a site in Montana, and that's really the only time that's happened. Yeah, unless maybe you're digging in an area where other dinosaur digging crews have come through. You might find like trash that they left or something like that around the turn of the century. So like Ethan and co actually found a bucket that was probably left here by Barnum Brown and his crew in 1937. And that's pretty cool. But that's more recent archaeology, I guess, you know? Yeah. So yeah. And Space and Guild, what kind of boots am I wearing? These are Rocky 8-inch hunting boots. And they're also great for hunting dinosaurs. Yeah. But we've got all kinds of different shoes on the crew, I suppose. Yeah. Quinn is poised there with the paper towel. Get ready to,
Still going.
yeah,
Paper towel special.
put the separator on there. Ethan's putting some glue.
I'm enlightened.
Yeah.
Let's we'll probably leave that, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll save that for the lab.
Yeah.
Let the matrix support it.
Yeah. A little bit of bone poking out there. Sweet. That's a 3-foot job.
Just that.
And finding remains of previous crews is meta-archaeology. There you go, Teddy Rockspin. Or paleontologist archaeo-paleontology, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to drink some water before I fall over for dehydration. This is the first time I've needed chapstick in like years and years on this trip. But this dry desert air really doing a number on me. Yeah. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. So Ethan's putting some more PVA glue on there. Is that the B72?
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Nice. So in just a few minutes, provided the battery doesn't die, everybody will get to witness another round of jacketing on here. Yeah. And oh, you're from California too? Very nice, OMG, a viewer. Guess what your last job was? Shoot. Flight attendant. Oh, Quinn said a dinosaur. That's what I wanted to be when I was like probably 2 years old. And then I realized you can't really make a living as a dinosaur, so I decided I wanted to be a paleontologist instead.
Have you seen Step Brothers?
No, I haven't. Is there a thing about that in Step Brothers?
Yeah, about him wanting to be a dinosaur when he was a kid.
Did he specify what kind?
I think a T-Rex. He's
Oh.
like going around. My dad told me you can't be a dinosaur. Grow up.
How'd you guys find this site?
Prospecting?
Prospecting? Like, do you follow a bone trail up the hill, or?
No, there's...
Just-
Well, this whole surface for about 50, maybe 20 yards this way was covered in bone fragments.
Just covered in bone fragments.
And we followed it up to the source. where that big block in the center is, and we flipped over a piece of sandstone in front of it, hadn't shown maxwell yet. And so we thought it might be a decent spot, yeah.
Yeah, nice. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be an ornithomimid, like Gallimimus. Like, be so fast, nobody could eat me, you know?
I mean, period. I don't know a single person whose favorite dinosaur is Gallimimus.
Oh, really? Oh, it was mine back when I was a kid, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
And then after that, it was Dryosaurus for a long time.
Dryosaurus?
I know, right?
Okay, I believe Gallimimus more than Dryosaurus. Dryosaurus is really cool.
Yeah, underappreciated for sure. All those, what we call speedos nowadays.
Speedo.
What was it? Small-bodied, early diverging ornithischians.
I
Yeah.
think Dryosaurus is considered an iguanodontid now.
It's kind of disputed, but yeah, that is. I guess if there's a general consensus, it would be like a basal iguanodontian.
Then
Yeah.
again, like if it looks like Dryosaurus or Hypsilophodon, it could be anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's just a classic ornithischian design when they're not
How much
trying to
dead
be
weight's in this
something else.
It's a good jag.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
We had somebody asking a question. What was that?
Played it safe.
Barb says, "How long have you been on this site?" Since May 7th, 2020 was my first day. I know that because it's my best friend's birthday.
That will live in infamy.
Yeah. May 7th, 2020.
On this site, does she mean? Do they mean Twitch or do they mean?
Oh shoot! This site right here.
Probably this site.
Yeah.
That's what they mean.
Yeah, I've been working here since. Oh shoot! I don't know. This site was discovered a few years ago, but 2021, right?
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I don't know. Like a couple weeks. We've been working here for a couple weeks.
I'm gonna do a little more song.
Yeah.
Where is Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa.
Yeah. Oh, Eric, somebody wants to know. Jody Fish wants to know your specialty. You're a geology student, right?
I am a geology student at Weber State.
Oh, nice.
I'm not doing anything like formal in paleo, except I'm a volunteer at the NHMU.
Nice.
I do lab work there.
Cool.
I've done some field work.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Nice.
The Caparowitz.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kakarowitz. Very nice. Yeah.
So I found a Tyrannosaur, so
Very nice.
a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Good stuff.
I have gone on. I played the aisles saying, "Hey, would anyone believe me if I found a Tyrannosaur?" No. I didn't try to convince them.
Yeah.
So you found that? Wow. Congrats. To you.
Pretty neat.
I found that.
Yeah. Big Tuna Neil says, do fossils show up better in the summer, or do paleontologists just enjoy sweating? I mean, we definitely do enjoy sweating. It's our favorite thing in the world. We also enjoy not freezing to death like we would do if we were working here during the winter.
Let the snow erode them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Let the winter do its job.
Yeah, like this is all covered by snow for probably, if it's anything like Montana where I used to live, it would be like 9 months out of the year. Yeah, so this is unworkable for most of the year. You've got to be out here during the summer. But yeah. Holy cow, 631 people watching right now. Hello, everybody. Holy cow. Yeah, pretty incredible.
Seal that up.
With what?
That, like,
Yeah.
it's apparently really tough.
It's we were trying to flip properly, but it's like way.
And let's see. Chim Champion says, so if none of you are getting paid for this time, how do paleontologists earn money? Is it all grant funding? Yeah, we don't actually. Yeah.
Do it for the science.
It's it's for the love of the game.
Teach anatomy,
Yeah.
geology, be a museum curator, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's very few jobs in paleontology, but you can generally hopefully make a living doing, like Ethan said, teaching. Maybe you can get a job in a museum as a curator or a museum scientist. A lot of paleontologists nowadays do mitigation. Yeah, like you'll meet Nick Oliver later in the summer, and he works in mitigation. So like being an on-site paleontologist when they're doing construction or something, if they're like digging up a hillside and they find some fossils that might be important, they need a paleontologist on site to identify them and save those fossils. So yeah. Or you could stream on Twitch, but I only know one paleontologist who does that full time. And And we don't talk about him here. He's no good. Yeah. Captain Crunk says we need more of these streams to get people interested. I agree. You know, that's what I'm trying to do here. Science outreach is important, you know? Like, sometimes it seems like science literacy is going down the tubes, especially in this country, and I don't know. There's a channel on Twitch here called Flat Earth Channel, which is preposterous to me. It's in the science and technology category. You know, you just get all kinds of stuff like this, and it's like, people need some decent science. I think people crave that. They want to be able to see how science actually works and meet scientists, and I think there's a real hunger for that kind of thing. And if current viewership right here is any indication, you know, it might be correct. Yeah. But yeah. And I would agree, kid from the sticks, most politicians don't care about science or are actively antagonistic towards science. So yeah, that's the thing. Oh, there's a lizard over there. Let's see if we can get close enough to see this beautiful lizard. Probably another common sagebrush lizard. Right there. So see the bush? Look just to the left of the bush on that little rock in front. Hey, lizard friend. Oh, there he goes. Into the bush. Guess that's why they call them sagebrush lizards. But yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, yeah. But yeah. There's life in the desert? There's us, OMG viewer, yeah. And lizards. We get nighthawks and rock wrens and camel spiders and all kinds of beetles. Tons of darkling beetles that we saw earlier today. Yeah, there's all kinds of critters out here. You'd be surprised. Like in the high desert, you get a lot of different animals. I saw a bunch of pronghorn yesterday on the drive back to camp. Yeah. Anyway, kid from the sticks says paleontology is cool. Cool stuff. It's neat to know what creatures were here and gone before humankind. Absolutely. It gives us a, context that we wouldn't otherwise have. I think paleontology is really important, not just in a purely scientific way, but also just to kind of spark the human imagination, In the same way that, like, looking up at the night sky through a telescope and seeing these distant stars and planets and realizing how very vast the universe is and how small we are in it, like that feeling of smallness that, I don't know, there's just a rapturous delight, I think, in that. In the same way, you can go here and look at these rocks. You can find fossils of creatures that lived tens of millions of years ago. And then you just, it's like you're floating in the vastness of time. And there's something rapturous about that. There's something truly beautiful about that. It helps you feel small in the same way that you do when you look up at the night sky and see all those distant stars. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And I think that inspires a lot of people, and I think that's important, Wonderment is really, really important. Yeah. So that's what we're doing here. That's what I'm doing here, trying to bring this to the audience at home. So to the 616 people watching, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. It's great to have you here. Yeah. But yeah. And the stargazing here is pretty great. Fake Alex Jones. It is. And here's Seth and Nick walking up. What'd you guys find today?
Not much.
Okay. Yeah.
I found a bone fragment. It was at least this big. Like that big.
Nice.
Spectacular.
And why don't we put up shade? Well, Varco, that probably would have been smart, Maybe next year we'll have a shade tarp for some of these sites. But honestly, it's not that hot out. It's like 80-something degrees. Yeah.
What's that?
How'd the other side go?
We'll really take the duckbill too. It's going to go to a museum in Cincinnati, Ohio, to be held in the public trust for all of time. Yeah, Wonderment, a brand of gum. This isn't sponsored content, Mayor Space. Yeah. And I don't work on marine paleontology myself, Holly S. No. Yeah. But I do have some friends who do. Yeah. I work on dinosaurs, which are almost 100% terrestrial. There's only a few aquatic dinosaurs from the Mesozoic, and they're all birds. Like Hesperornis and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah. And Kid from the Sticks is cool. I live in Pennsylvania. That's not far for me to see. Yeah. I mean, it'll be a while until these are prepared and studied and published, and then maybe on display at the museum. So maybe give us a few years, but you should be able to come out and see them at some point. Yeah, in Cincinnati. That's going to be cool. You can go to Montana and see some dinosaurs that I've dug up on display there. Yeah. But yeah. And do we have a choice on which museum the findings go to, or is it decided before? Keys. You know, we were working with that museum, so all the fossils would go back to our museum. Here, Ethan's got some affiliations with different museums, and the museum in Cincinnati, they really are trying to build their dinosaur collection right now. So Ethan's been working with them, and they're kind of his sponsor for the excavation permits and everything too. So if you're going to be collecting fossils on public land, you need to make sure that those fossils are going to go to a public repository. Otherwise, you can't get permits. You know, if the fossils are just going to end up on somebody's mantelpiece or something, it's no bueno. It's not going to work. Fossils, you know, dinosaur fossils like this are important scientific specimens. They belong in a museum. And we're lucky that the Cincinnati Museum has been so excited to receive these fossils and care for them and everything. Because that's an investment, you know? You got to make sure that you have space for these things. You have curatorial staff. You might have preparators to work on them. And you need to have a guarantee that museum will still be here in like 100 years. You know? So yeah, it's not a small deal, you know? Yeah. But yeah. How much of this fossil have we recovered? Everything from this site is skull right now. So yeah. It's like this is all the skull of this duckbill dinosaur. We haven't found any post-crania yet. Nothing from behind the skull. Yeah. And what estimated percentage of the dinosaur fossil will be complete? So that's the cool thing, Byron Lumley. Since this is a duckbill dinosaur, what you really want is the skull. Most duckbill dinosaurs, their bodies are pretty similar to one another. You get, you know, distinct bits here and there, but like for the most part, most hadrosaurs, duckbill dinosaurs, have got pretty similar looking bodies behind their head. So since we have the head here, a skull, we'll be able to figure out what particular clade, what particular group of duckbill dinosaurs this belongs to, and then, you know, basically the easy part is behind the head. We know what those look like. They're all pretty much the same, but the heads vary a lot. So it's really, really good that we have the head here.
Great to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your help.
And Wispy Willow says, thanks for sharing with us. Thanks for being here. Yeah. And how many pieces is the skull in? That's a great question, Lucian. We are figuring that out. Holy cow, it's going to be a lot. Maybe a few hundred pieces, at least. I mean, there's probably... How many bones in a dinosaur skull? It's like 40 or 50, I think. It's between 30 and 50, we'll say. 30 and 50 bones in a dinosaur skull, and many of these are broken up into multiple pieces, so it's going to be a lot of pieces.
I found a Tyrannosaur
We're doing a group picture with Nick there. Nick is taking off now, I guess. He's going to go back to England.
Go. What type of Tyrannosaur do you find?
Probably too low.
Yeah. And how do we transport everything from the dig site to its destination? In a truck. Well, we got to carry it down first to the truck, to the road, and then we truck it over to the museum. Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah.
It's a big freaking
And Chim Champion says, did the bones immediately get donated to an institution? I mean, these are already public property. So these are found on public land, and so they already belong to us, the people of the United States. And so they need to immediately go to a museum. Yeah, which is what we'll be doing here. Ethan's going to be driving these out to Ohio in, like, what, a week and a half or something? So yeah.
Yeah, likewise.
And reverse 2057, these fossils were found via prospecting. So a member of the crew was out looking for a new site, saw some bones spilling out, followed it in, and bow, hadrosaur skull. So yeah. The locals don't actually know that there are dinosaurs here, which is probably a good thing for the time being. We're near the town of Green River, Wyoming, and we don't want this whole area being trampled by souvenir hunters and fossil poachers and stuff. So yeah, so shh, everybody. Yeah. But yeah. What was first, the dinosaur or the egg? Alex Lander. Eggs, well, creatures have been laying eggs for like, what, 500 million years? And the first dinosaurs show up about 230 million years ago. So eggs were definitely first. Yeah. But they weren't dinosaur eggs. Yeah. And do we need a semi-truck, OMG, a viewer? No, we've got a Toyota Tacoma, and that'll do the trick. Yeah. And do I ever actively do research on the bones, like the ones that are given to the museum or in the lab? So I've done that, GeoBliz, yeah. I might not work on these specimens in particular, but I work on other kinds of fossils, yeah. Other dinosaurs. So, yeah. And what was the first dinosaur I dug up?
God creates these tests for us to make.
Good question. Probably. It might actually be a Tyrannosaurus. I'm trying to think back to my first days in the field in 2011. It's kind of a blur. It was either Triceratops or Tyrannosaurus was the first dinosaur I dug up. Probably Triceratops, but I don't know. We got called in to look at another cruise site because they were kind of messing things up, and they were digging up what they said was a baby T-Rex. Or Nanotyrannus, they said. It's baby T-Rex. Or a juvenile T-Rex. And they also said, oh, it might be a new species of Hell Creek Tyrannosaur. Anyway, yeah. So that might be the first site I ever actually excavated at. But the first dinosaur I dug up, like, you know, was Triceratops for sure. Yeah. Yeah. You're taking off, Nick?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Oh, cool.
Head back to the real world.
Yeah. It's been great talking with you and everything. And yeah, Twitch chat says hello too. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a broadcast right now.
It's okay.
But yeah, good luck down at BYU, looking at those theropods and everything.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. Theropods, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, classified information here. But yeah, good
Didn't
stuff.
hear nothing.
I'll see you around. Yeah, let me know if you ever need any illustrations on
shoot
in
me
a pitch
or something. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. So, okay, it was great meeting you, Dan.
See you around. You too, Nick.
Take care.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
But yeah. Yeah. Man, I didn't realize Nick was leaving so early. But he's got to go catch a bus to Utah. Yeah.
Someone want to stabilize this pedestal.
Anyway, we got another question from Alexander. Is the oil we use today the dinosaurs that died a long time ago? No. So oil comes from ocean bottom sediments, and dinosaurs were living on land. So oil is the remains of like ancient microscopic sea organisms, things like diatoms and plankton and stuff like that, which in terms of their biomass would be so much greater than those of dinosaurs. Like, you know, plankton might not be big, but there are so many trillions upon trillions of them that they really add up. They would die and sink down to the bottom of the ocean, and then their bodies all filled with carbon would compress down, and then eventually that gets kind of cooked down into oil. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. Scrolling. Yeah. Even more early oil. Yeah, so there's definitely oil that's older than the dinosaurs, I think, and then there's oil that's more recent too. But it's from ocean bottom sediments, from tiny little critters like that. Yeah. Here, let me check on my battery here. Is it blinking yet? No, good. It's not blinking yet, which means we got some more time. And holy cow, 587 viewers right now. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. It's getting late here too. 5:44 p.m. local time. Yeah, I might be, well, I don't know. We'll go for a little while longer. If anybody's got any questions, don't be shy. Yeah. Oh, Thor L. Pieces, my daughter wants to know how much the skull weighs. Sorry for repeating. No, thank you for repeating, Thor. The skull itself is not going to weigh all that much, but the thing is we can't take out just the bones. We have to take them out in some of the surrounding rocks so the bones don't fall apart. And the bones are also scattered all over the place. So let's take a look at some of those. These guys are working on one of the lower jaws right now inside that plaster jacket. We've got another lower jaw right here, still in situ, where my finger shadow is pointing. There's the tooth row right there, that lower jaw. And we've got more skull bits all throughout this big lump right there. So how much it weighs it depends on a lot of things. How much rock do we take it out with? But yeah, we'll be coming back with several thousand pounds of dinosaur material in rock. So yeah, and here, gotta make sure that this garbage doesn't blow away, because that would not be good. Here on public land, we cannot be littering. So, there we go. That's relatively secure. Yeah. Yeah. And let's see here. Ambassadorship application, Golganite. I don't know. I've never really thought much about that, being a Twitch ambassador. I don't know. It'd be cool, maybe. Frank Big Time says, are the bodies of various duckbills mostly the same because the skulls specialize the fastest for different diets, like Darwin's finch's beaks? That's going to be part of it, and also just duckbill dinosaurs have got all kinds of crazy, like display structures on their heads, probably for like, it could be for social display, it could be to like show who's old and who's young in the same species, like ontogenetic display. But yeah, they develop all kinds of crazy crests and bumps and knobs and big bosses on their noses and stuff. And yeah, and then the actual like structure of the skull underneath, how deep the jaw is, what shape the teeth are, how wide the beak is. A lot of that stuff probably had to do with feeding. Yeah. So yeah. And Oops Kaput says, is there any paleontological info that could be taken from oil? Like, are there fossilized plankton in it? No, they've been cooked down to just carbon sludge. However, if you want to find oil, you can use fossils to do it. And back in the day, oil companies used to employ hundreds of paleontologists to go out and look at various fossils in the rock layers to figure out how old those rocks are. Because sometimes you can actually date the rocks based on the fossils that you find in them. If they're well-known fossils, and we know how old the fossils are, then if you find fossils in the rocks, then you know how old the rocks are. So yeah, but I think that's pretty rare today for oil companies to hire paleontologists. A lot of that stuff has been mapped out really, really well. That work's already been done. So, yeah. So yeah, you won't find fossils in oil, but you can use fossils to find oil, for sure. And holy cow, TGI Rex, I'm glad you're watching right now, but do get some sleep if you need to. Yeah. What advice would I give to a young man who wants to be a paleontologist to actually get in this career? How would he become one? Ali Jiu, my best advice would be see if you can go and work in a museum. That's basically how I got my start in paleontology back when I was in high school. I was lucky enough to live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and there's a major paleontology museum on the campus of UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. It's not like a public museum, but it's a big research collections that's part of the university. And so I just sent them an email one day and said, hey, can I volunteer at the museum? Like, I'm enthusiastic, I'm I want to learn. I'll do whatever work you want me to do. I'll mop the floors if you ask me to. And they said, okay, come on in. And yeah, I got to meet a bunch of paleontologists. I got to work on fossils. I got to learn how to read scientific papers, and just they're immersed in paleontology. And I think that's the best piece of advice I can give anybody is go where the action is. If you can work in a museum, go do it. Or if you can volunteer on a field crew, if you can go out and do field work as a volunteer, do it. You want to be where the action is. And in my opinion, that's much more important than even like taking the right classes in school or getting this or that piece of paper. Like if you want to actually get involved in the science, yeah, that's how you do it. Go work in a museum, go work on a field crew. Yeah. I hope that's helpful. And beaks get fossilized, says Soviet Kazakh. Not always. Often there'll be a bony core to a beak that will fossilize, but it's pretty rare for the keratin, like the keratin structure of the beak. Keratin's like our fingernails or like bird beaks are made of keratin. It goes over the bone. That usually doesn't fossilize. That usually rots away, just like the skin and the muscle and organs do. Yeah. And the reverse is, what do you guys think might have happened to this duckbill to make the skull pieces so scattered about? That's really common. It could be any number of things, but dinosaur skulls have a tendency to just fall apart after the animal dies. They're not like mammal skulls where they're like solidly fused together. Dinosaur skulls are pretty lightly built. They've got all these openings, what we call fenestrae, like windows in the skull to make them more lightweight. So they usually tend to fall apart after death. And that's what we have here too. Yeah. But yeah. Can you know what the air was like when the dinosaurs lived? It was pretty similar to today. Yeah. Not too different. Probably, I don't know. Today it's what, like 21% oxygen, 70% nitrogen, something like that? Probably pretty similar during the age of dinosaurs. I've actually read papers that say that there was less oxygen in the atmosphere when the dinosaurs were around. But it would have fluctuated throughout the age of dinosaurs too. You know, dinosaurs were around for about 170 million years. So yeah, atmospheric composition would have changed a lot during that time. That's a long time. Lots of changes can occur. And yeah, Chim Champion, that's a great question. How do we tell species diversity from just morphological diversity and ontogeny in hadrosaurs? It's a good question. We really need more specimens, I would say. That's a subject of ongoing research and debate, for sure. Yeah. But yeah. And Alzalander says, the rings of trees can tell you what the weather and air conditions were like. I don't know about air conditions. But they can tell you about seasonality, I suppose. They can tell you what the climate might have been like at a given time. But it's kind of hard to get really nice preserved tree rings in strata like this. Usually we just get like a chunk of a tree, and it's hard to see the rings inside. But, yeah. If you found this channel in education, this is so good for Twitch. Well, thank you, Captain Crunk. Yeah. Oops Kaput says, why do things fossilize? Is it easy to artificially fossilize things? Yeah, people have done that. Man, if I were back in my office, I'd show you a little video about this. Like, here's a step-by-step guide. Yeah, so I showed that video to Quinn yesterday. Remember what the first step was?
You have to die first.
You have to die first, yeah. Yeah, step one, die. But yeah, you gotta get buried by sediment, and then somehow, before the bones completely dissolve away, they have to be preserved. Like maybe there's minerals in groundwater that seep into the bone, and then those minerals replace some of the organic components in the bone, and then fossilizes. It like basically partially turns to stone. And you can do this sort of thing in the laboratory, but I'm not super familiar with how to do that or what the method is. Something I should look into, because I'm curious about that. Diagenesis, like these processes that bones undergo after they're buried. Like, I don't know enough about that, and I feel like it's something that I should learn. Yeah. Captain Crunk says, Homo sapiens have been around on Earth for how long compared to the dinosaurs? The blink of an eye. Depending on who you ask, Homo sapiens, the human species in our modern form, have been around for like 100,000 or maybe 200,000 years, something like that. So practically no time at all. Dinosaurs were around for I think about 178 million years. Yeah, if they first evolved like 235 or 240 million years ago, something like that. Yeah, long time. So yeah, what's 178 million divided by 100,000? That's just a quick decimal point one. But anyway, yeah, a lot longer. A lot longer. And strictly speaking, dinosaurs never went extinct. We still have birds. Birds are living dinosaurs. So, yeah, we still have birds today. Dinosaurs are still around. But yeah. And Chim Champion, yeah, we do think that hadrosaurs may have used their crests for vocalizing mating calls or territory or keeping track of the rest of the herd or something like that. Yeah. Social stuff. Yeah. Yeah. A nonchalant skeleton. Very interesting. Carbonyl sulfide. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. And the manager says, if there were people for that long, why don't we find many bones above dinosaurs? I mean, there's basically 66 million years between the extinction of the dinosaurs, except for birds, and the evolution of people. So there's a big gap there in which you had all different kinds of mammals, but no people. People are very new on the scene. Yeah. But yeah, an Australian Aboriginal peoples were around at least 100,000 years ago. There you go, Abarajo. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a paleoanthropologist. I don't work on human fossils, so I'll take your word for that. I know next to nothing about that. Yeah. But yeah. Soviet Kazakh says, you ever do the paleo diet? I mean, that's what we do out here, you know? What is the paleo diet for paleontologists in the field? Usually like cereal for breakfast or coffee. I usually make a protein shake. For lunch, it'll be a sandwich. I usually do a peanut butter sandwich. Gummy fruit snacks, some bags of chips, an apple, maybe like a granola bar. And for dinner, it might be hamburgers. I do veggie burgers. It might be, hot dogs, spaghetti, other kinds of pasta, rice and beans. It's always a favorite. Yeah, that's the paleontologist diet out here in the field. Yeah. But yeah. And Oops Kapoots, thank you for the subscription there. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And, Cheesy Mo Solo, hey, thank you for saying the stream looks awesome. I appreciate that. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Here, let me get some water. And, I'll show you the jacketing process over there, too. Looks like they're putting some separator on there. This will be one of our last tasks for the day. Because the sun is going down over there. We got to get back to camp before nightfall. But let me drink some more water. Where did that go? Where did I put my water? There it is. It's falling over. Yeah. There we are. Yeah, then let me do a quick little station break. For anybody who's just waltzed in, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm working with a crew of paleontologists and volunteers here out in western Wyoming, and we're digging up a new species, probably a new species, of duckbill dinosaur, hadrosaur, out on public land. Your public federal lands, Americans. Yeah. So yeah. There's Ethan and Quinn over there, and our new volunteer Eric, and they're going to be adding a new layer over the bottom of this duckbill dinosaur lower jaw dentary, which is really, really exciting. That's one of the bones you want to have. Where right now this is just a skull of a duckbill dinosaur. We haven't found any postcrania yet. We've got 2 lower jaws, and here's the first one that we're jacketing. And let's go take a look at that. Yeah. Yeah. How's it going over here?
Good, we're just getting balled up.
Nice. Yeah. Putting a layer of separator over the bone there. So this is just wet paper towels at this point. And then we're gonna have some strips of burlap soaked in plaster of Paris. And that'll be the bottom of our jacket here. Bottom or top? I don't know. It's flipped over. Would you call this a bottom or a top?
I would call it a bottom,
Yeah.
but I use the word top jacket out of habit.
Yeah, I think I do the same thing. So anyway, This is a time-honored tradition, plaster jacketing like this. And like I've said several times on this stream so far, this method's been in use since the 1870s.
It was actually invented by Abraham Lincoln after he was shot.
I think it was Marsh's crews that invented this, right?
I think a lot of people claim to have invented it. I think Hatcher claimed to have invented it, but Brown claimed to have invented it.
That's nuts. Even though
way after, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Did Sternberg do this? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they definitely did too. But they were definitely later. Yeah. Well, which Sternberg, I guess? Was it Charles or...
Charles H. was out with Cope in 76.
Yeah, that's right.
Really, yeah. All right, that should do it.
Anyway, somebody can look it up. Was it Cope's or Marsh's crews that invented plaster jacketing for vertebrate fossils like
Was
this?
it Danny's crew?
Definitely not. I'm not that old. Everybody, yeah. You know, I'm, like all Twitch streamers, I am 21 and single.
ASL.
Wait, for real? Wait, you're actually 21?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Am I older than you now? What?
No.
Okay, you don't look. To know.
What are the girlfriends thing?
Yeah. Anyway, they're gonna do the plaster part in a minute, but let me answer some of these questions. Let's see. Yeah, 21 and single and in a hot tub. There you go, Gojira. Fairy Twitch. But yeah. And Loganudo says, is it still called plaster of Paris if it wasn't manufactured in the Paris region of France? We could just call it plaster of Paris. That's what the bag says. Yeah. I don't know. Yeso de Paris en español. That's just a name for it. Yeah. Oh, and Gojira, you're getting thunderstorms up there in northern Wyoming? Okay. Yeah. Well, no, 800 miles. That's not in Wyoming. You're going to be up in Montana or Alberta or Saskatchewan.
Maybe like
Yeah. On Martian, Cope's crews are both credited with inventing the method. Okay.
Okay, and then let's put a rock up here so it feels.
Yeah. Let's see. And yep, it's Starlink here, fake Alex Jones, 1776. There's the dish up there. Off the grid stream. Let me check on my battery level here and see if we're still doing okay. Yep, it's not blinking. That's a positive. Yeah. Paris, Kentucky. Yeah, Paris, Texas, Goganek. There you go. So there you see Quinn putting some strips of burlap over this.
Yeah, we're gonna put some that in.
Just kind of
in
testing
plaster,
that out.
that'll be the final coat.
Seeing what we need. Yeah.
All right. Some people use foil instead of paper.
Paris,
Yeah,
Missouri.
it depends on the team you're with, huh?
Yeah. And oh, somebody was asking about my hat. Well, I've had this hat for 16 years now. Holy cow. been with me like every field trip I've ever done. But this is from Minnetonka Moccasin, which is like a leatherworking company in Minnetonka, Minnesota. So it's all American, even though it's an Australian slouch hat. Yeah. And Rayad, we can absolutely see the Milky Way at night. Yeah. Here we go. Get some more water into the basin. Mix up some plaster.
The water basin and range. All right. Drink. Get a little sippy. We're gonna get a little porry. We're gonna get a little slurpy.
And more plaster, ASMR, yeah.
Plaster it's on. We've got the Union Jack here and tape on our plaster.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we had a little tear.
God save the
White
Queen?
Yeah, God save the powder.
Yeah.
God save the Queen? I guess it's
Whatever it is now, I don't know.
king now, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, yeah, the Queen died recently, didn't she?
Yeah.
I guess I don't really pay attention to that.
I heard the new queen is like a man or something.
Isn't that
or-
crazy?
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever.
God save the king.
Weird country they have over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got this from down
And
south. These guys name them Nargos.
Welsh plaster.
it's pure.
We got
Down in
to
Miami.
show you a little photo.
Yeah. No, we had a bunch of chatters joking about like, oh, if it's not actually from Paris, then it's actually just sparkling gypsum.
Sparkle gypsum.
I like that.
Yeah. How often can we see the Northern Lights? I've never seen the Northern Lights
Get that.
at any point in the field, and we have not seen it
I don't know which way we want to pull it out from. Probably the.
so far on during this season. Did you soak the burlap already?
We're just gonna skip that.
Okay.
This side.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest, so I just have that personality. Youngest of four, you know. Keep it up, big dog. You got it. Oh,
Yeah.
It's coming from everywhere. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good girl. Nice. That's the good stuff right there.
Can of Span 01 says, do you travel to the East Coast at all, or do you mostly work in the West and the Rockies? I mostly work in the West and the Rockies, yeah.
Eats
Yeah.
all the, if the water eats up at all.
I've only ever been to the East Coast a couple times in my life. Not a lot of dinosaurs from the East Coast of the United States. Yeah.
We're working on a jacket. We're gonna get it out. So yeah, I'm here.
Let me know if you guys need a hand or anything.
Can you make sure that we don't step on that?
Okay, yeah.
Shoot. What? It's alright.
Oh man.
It's not a stain.
Pour some water on it. I think that'll get the plaster off.
Actually, it might be better than just powder. At least you can peel it off then. Let's do a little more, Q.
And I've got plaster on my boots from previous days. It takes a while to come off. Yeah.
Let's get this stuff out of the way. Cool.
All right. Get that sound.
Quinn, can you actually give me a tiny bit more water? I think I slightly overshot the ratio.
Yeah, that's super thick. Holy cow.
That's good. Thanks, dude. That'll make all the difference. Thanks, man.
Okay.
TJI Rex wants to know where in the Americas is the best place to find the most dinosaurs?
Alberta or New Mexico or
Utah.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Montana or North Dakota?
The Inter-Rocky Mountain West.
Jersey's got some.
Hey, Eric,
Yeah.
you want to help Quinn here? But we've got a big tear right
Oh,
there, so
boy.
we need it to stay upright. So if you could figure out a way to minimize the amount that's spilled out and kind of get it out of the way a little bit, great. Nice, good job. Saving every bit.
The product.
Boss is gonna kill us. Just blame it on one of those bears we get out here.
Plaster bear. This is mostly immobilized and all this plaster clinging to its fur.
Get him, boss. All right, Quinn, you want to give me the jerk that, move this bag around until it looks like stable enough, Eric, for the plaster to not go everywhere. It's gotta. Yeah, that. Yeah. So give me the first one that's supposed to go on the left side. Your right. You're right. That's fine. That's fine. Your left is fine. Okay. Sorry, it's just I'm trying to think of both our brains.
Right.
My left is not your left, so. Okay. Almost there. Oh, there's a bunch of scrunchies.
And Dylan, you're from Utah. Very nice. I'm going to be streaming from Utah in just a few weeks.
All right, let's get it.
Ethan and I are going to be down there near Moab, digging up some dinosaurs.
What you looking for?
Stoling's Bowl.
What's that? I don't think I've heard of it.
Bottom of the Cedar Mountain.
Ah, gotcha.
Near Gabucha. Let's get it. Boy.
Doing more of those iguanodontids.
Yeah.
And it's a 744. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Stumbled upon this and OMG, this is super cool. Never expected to find something like this on Twitch. Well, here you are. Welcome.
Let's go.
Yeah. And yeah, there are dinosaurs from Coahuila in down in Mexico.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. That's like a new frontier for late Cretaceous dinosaurs.
Is there a viewer from Coahuila?
No, they're just very much in the know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I've worked within
Is there a
a couple
reason?
miles of Mexico.
Really?
Yeah.
Down in New Mexico?
Texas.
Texas.
Big
Oh,
region.
right. Yeah.
Pretty cool area.
Is there a
Big-
reason you roll these up like this?
It's so we can set them on easy and unfurl it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, this is your first jacket, huh, Eric?
This is my first time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, shoot, to have it be
All
a
right, is that all?
potential holotype?
Well,
That's
get them
awesome.
in a goop too. So that means that this one is the one on that end.
Yep.
Just gonna drain the rain out just a little bit, so it doesn't go everywhere. The first one always gets the most. All right,
Yep.
There we go. It puts the plaster on the jacket, or else it gets the water again.
All right. This is always a little nerve-wracking because you don't want to reposition the strip because it'll pull the separator off. So right there, they're making sure that it's nice and taut against the surface. No air pockets or anything underneath.
Nice.
Yeah. Man, regular viewers are going to be experts in jacketing by the end of this summer, even if they've never done it before.
Okay.
How long does this take to dry?
It depends on how thick it is, the temperature, that kind of stuff. This will probably be ready in an hour.
Oh yeah, probably less.
Maybe it's less, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job. Eric, you want to get on this side and rub that in? So make your hands like mittens and just like rub all around. Put a lot of pressure. If you want to fight against air pockets are the enemy.
Yep.
We're still gonna carry it down wet while it's wet, are we?
We'll carry it down when it'll be mostly dry by the time we carry it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And TGI Rex, we're not making mummies here. This is how you get dinosaurs out of the ground. This is
Nice job, Eric.
field jacketing.
You need more.
So we're building a protective cocoon around the bone
Start by
so that it can make a safe journey back to the laboratory.
Nice.
These things have been in the ground for 73 million years.
Sweet, that's perfect.
Yeah, as soon as you take them out of the ground, they start to fall apart. So you want to basically cocoon it like this.
Is this a long one? What's this one?
Yeah, that's when I
Okay, cool.
place it that way.
So one of the reasons why rolling in cool, Eric, is you just kind of set it down, and then you can just like get it all over.
I guess this is kind of similar to making makeup prosthetics, huh, Trek Nerd? Yeah. And what happens if there's air pockets? That means that stuff can jostle around inside. You want the surface of the jacket nice and tight against the bone and the rock, so things can't move around inside. Think of it like shrink wrapping, you know?
Any comparison?
You need a little more slack over there.
Actually thinking of the thing you're wanting to stay away from it before you are you're having to apply it to this. Think of the thing you hate the most.
And there you go, Alexander. This is how you trick people into conspiracy theories. They're not doing dinosaur digging here, they're faking mummies. I mean, I don't think conspiracy theorists need any help with coming up with ideas like
Wasn't
that.
King Tut made out of plaster? Isn't that what they're saying?
Rolled as a plaster.
Plaster King. All right. Eric's the Plaster King. This is the.
It's going.
Nice. We definitely need that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Encephalime, yeah, shoot.
that?
Definitely have your
I'll
nephew
get lots of goop in a second.
watch these VODs, and if he wants to ask any questions or anything, be happy to answer them, you know?
Nice.
I'm here to do science outreach, that's the whole point. So,
This back part, this pocket first.
yeah.
Nice. Alright. Alright, guys. Nice.
And Thalo says, did you get around to teaching the crew the term dog water? I mean, that's my, like, PG-rated substitute for another term. Where...
It's dog water.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know. We'll use the non-PG rated one when the cameras are off, I guess. But yeah. And Gary and Kellis says, do you use a special chemical in the lab to dejacket it, or what? There's a bunch of different chemicals that are combined to make something called a saw, and then we'll cut it open with that.
It's so low tech that it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah, everybody's like expecting it to be more complicated than it is. Like, what kind of lasers do you use on this? It's like, no, we use a big sharp piece of metal.
Does Air Force One have to be there?
These techniques are hundreds of years old.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
haven't changed.
We need some goop.
Just find a...
Let's get some goop to close these seams. Yeah, let me get you some of that, Quinn. Here you go. Alright.
The secret technique of Dremel. Yeah, there you go, weird
So Eric, we
technique.
want to make sure that it's really adhering to the side and not dangling at all. This is like shaped like a spear. Like a giant weapon of some kind.
Yeah, I don't think we'll even need the stretcher for this.
Yep, it's that light.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right. Goop inbound.
So again, there's the lower jaw of a duckbill dinosaur in this jacket here. And goop it up.
My mom's goop. It's her very own recipe. Nothing like mama's goop.
Yeah, gotta get that gabagoop. Gotta have it.
Gots to have it, sis.
My hands are gonna feel like a fossil when this dries up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, your hands are going in the jacket. If you're doing it right, you shouldn't know where your hands begin and where the jacket ends. How's the
Oh shoot, did my battery run out? Let's see. Nope, it's still on.
What up, boys? Anybody need some goop?
It says we're live. I think it's just the Starlink, maybe? Not yet. Battery dying, boss? What does that mean? Camera was getting iffy. No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I think it's just the Starlink. Our battery's doing okay. Yeah.
We got a bunch of goop coming in. Go! Where go? That's a good amount, good ratio. Would have been way too thick if we didn't have that extra water.
Yeah. So this is how you dig dinosaurs, everybody, or at least how you get them safely back to the laboratory.
We'll use the lasers to get it back to camp, but we won't show that.
And then we'll use AI to cut into the dinosaurs to make sure it's perfect. And
Then we'll get a crack team of CIA linguists to figure out what language it spoke.
Figure out what its name was.
All right.
No, I get that question as surprising.
Don't break it off into the jacket. Break it off over here.
Surprising number of times I get that question, like, how do you actually figure out what the dinosaur's name was?
Paul.
How do you
this is Tony.
how do you know this one was called Triceratops?
Hey, Tony. Tony.
No, this one is called Tony. Yeah,
It's maybe Tony.
that's been kind of a working nickname for it.
Hey, don't.
Hey, Tone.
Why'd you explode like this?
What did I tell you about eating those ferns?
Do us a favor and get buried.
Yeah, it kind of started clumping up a little bit.
This thing's it's filled with little razor blades.
Yeah, shoot.
We're gonna love
Don't
that.
want those spiky bits on there.
spiky bits.
Yeah, good stuff.
Bartenders where they have to like smile while they're shaking their drink. It's John
Got a
Taffer.
camera in your face. You got to
Like
smile.
they're not getting tendonitis. Tennis elbow.
John Taffer will scream at you if you don't smile.
Herply derply, there you go, yeah. Used an AI-controlled quantum computer-generated laser to entangle the bone molecules and superposition them with the qubits.
Perfect.
Spot on.
That's what we did already.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 in the book of field work.
You get the phone for that. Any billionaires want to fund us? We'll try that.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah.
Oh, done.
Very nice. Look at that. That's a beautiful jacket. Like, especially knowing that there's a hadrosaur denary in
It
it.
looks like a racetrack.
Or something like new.
It's
Yeah.
weird protein.
It's good stuff.
It's like a bacterium.
Play like a royalty-free celebration. Celebrate. Good Obama. All right.
File share, free music. Celebrate. It's got the audio watermark.
Richard Cheese.
Anyway, good stuff. Holy cow. Yeah. Oscar Jr. says, okay, let me send $1 billion. Venmo, okay? I prefer Cash App, actually.
What?
Can we name this one Tony Sopranosaurus?
Sopranodon.
Yeah. Woke up this morning, got myself some ferns. Mama always said you'd be the best hadrosaur of form. Yeah.
Going down New York.
It's just like a horsetail hanging out of its mouth, and it's just walking down the floodplain.
I guess basically done.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna have to carry this thing down pretty soon, so I might as well think about wrapping up the stream before the battery dying forces us to do that. So yeah. But yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Oh, wait, shoot, we got a bunch of raiders from David Peterson. David Peterson, how are you doing? The Mouse Guard crew. Welcome. I'll stay on for a little bit. Welcome to Paleontologizing, everybody. If you're tuning in for the very first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm out here in western Wyoming doing some dinosaur paleontology. We're digging up a probably new species of duckbill dinosaur. And just finished jacketing its lower jaw right there. That is a big jacket for a big lower jaw from a big animal.
That's the whole length of the jaw, basically, from this part to about there.
That doesn't even have the predenary on it, so like...
With the beak, it'd come out to about here.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. So, broadcasting live via satellite. There's the Starlink dish up there, hooked up to a solar battery. So we are off the grid, doing some pioneering dinosaur science out here. We're in the late Cretaceous Almond Formation, about 73 million years old. No dinosaurs have been named from this formation, so just about anything that we find is going to be new, just based on the particular age of these rocks. So, exciting stuff. And this was funded almost entirely by viewers from this community, with our experiment.com fundraisers. Thank you so much, everybody. You are feeding us and, allowing us to, rent a truck and pay for gasoline and plaster and burlap and all that other good stuff. So, yeah. But yeah. David Peterson says, explain jacketing. I will after you tell me how your stream went. I hope it was really good. Welcome back, David Peterson. If you're interested in art and comics, go check out David Peterson's channel, everybody. Yeah. So jacketing is when we we make what we call a plaster jacket or a field jacket around the fossils to safely get them out of the ground and back to the laboratory. So think of it like a protective cocoon that we put around the bones to protect them as we transport them back to the museum. So the lower jaw is in that right there.
Yeah, right.
We've got another lower jaw right here in the ground. And there it is right there. And so hopefully tomorrow we can trench around this a little bit more. And then we put some paper towel over it. And we take some burlap strips, we soak them in plaster of Paris, stick them over the top, almost like a broken arm or broken leg. And then once that hardens over the top, you got like a nice top jacket there to protect the top of it. And then you dig around the sides. Maybe you put a side strip around, and then eventually you flip it. And then you clear away the rock from the other side, and then you put plaster and burlap on the other side of it. That's plaster jacketing. Yeah, maybe I'll be showing more of that tomorrow. But yeah, it's a process, a practice that's been going on since the 1870s. Yeah, it's pretty old-fashioned, but it's the best method we have for getting dinosaur fossils safely out of the ground and back to the museum. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? And yeah, got a beautiful jacket here. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's even nicer when you consider that there's the lower jaw of a new kind of dinosaur in there. Pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Koala, thank you for the 17 months of support. I appreciate that very much. Yeah. And Gekutsu says that's amazingly simple and smart. I mean, yeah, it's a tried and true method. Yeah. But yeah. Good stuff. And Petra Core says, how does one find a site like this? Do people just let you know if they see something unusual? No, this was found by Ethan and his crew back in 2021. They were out prospecting for fossils and found some bits of bone eroding out over here and said, holy cow, let's dig in. And they found a bunch of skull bones from this duckbill dinosaur. So we got our excavation permit this year, and now we've dug a big hole and we're getting it out. Yeah. So yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, excellent. Anyway, with that having been said, I have got to wrap this thing up because I've got to help clean up the site, and then we've got to carry this thing back down to the truck. And it's going to be a lot of work. So let me go over here and we will find somebody to raid. Let's see who else is streaming on Twitch right now. Yeah, and fingers crossed I'll be able to stream again tomorrow. I'm going to do fieldwork live streams as much as I can. I've got, let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have 3 more field streams possible for here in Wyoming, because I leave on Friday morning. And then I take a couple of weeks off. I'm going to do some traveling. And then I go back to eastern Utah, and I'm going to have 3 or 4 weeks there of digging dinosaurs and doing streams. So it's going to be an awesome summer. It's already been an awesome summer, but it will continue to be. Let's see. Let's go to watch, and who else is live on Twitch right now? Let's see. Let's go raid into the Harry Horror Show, I guess. We'll see what he's up to. Man-made disaster footage? Murder? No, let's go check out Mary's Milk Monsters, I think. Yeah, we're going to go see Mary and her goats. And that's going to be pretty cool. I need to start following some more people, because, yeah, shoot. Here, go here. Go to my channel. Actually, moderators, can you start a raid to Mary's Milk Monsters? That would be great. If that's possible. Oh, ducks and goats. Very nice. Yeah. Let's go check that out. I don't know if moderators can actually start a raid, so let me try and do that. my channel, chat, and let me type this out. Raid Mary's Milk Monsters. There we go. Excellent. Oh, there's already a raid in progress. Beautiful. Well, everybody, thank you for your viewership, for your enthusiasm, for your questions, and for your financial support. I would not be able to do this without any one of those particular things, especially the financial support. So thank you. Thank you for helping fund this dig. Holy cow. And cross your fingers, I'll be able to stream again tomorrow.
Hopefully we'll find more skull bones tomorrow.
Yeah. Ethan says hopefully we'll find more skull bones tomorrow. So yeah, cross your fingers. Good stuff. Anyway, everybody, let's go ahead and raid into Mary's Milk Monsters, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Thanks again. Bye-bye.